Hello and welcome to Cels episode 41. I'm your host, Alex Schmitz, and with me here today is Kenneth McNulty.
How's it going?
Andrew Gleason.
Yo, what's up?
Peter Frank.
Hey.
And returning after a long hiatus, Jeremy Zajac.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm all right. I got stuff I got to get done. But I decided to take time out of my busy. Who the hell am I kidding? I'm glad to be here.
Aw, see, we haven't had Jeremy on this semester, but now he's finally here.
We've missed him so much.
Because I haven't wanted to watch anything Alex showed.
Well, you were going to be on last week's Korra podcast, but something came up, so.
You don't watch Attack on Titan?
No,
he's not a fan.
I've read the manga.
Right.
Fair
I think that's how I got on last week's podcast. Thanks.
Yeah. So yes, all you Jer Bear fans out there can rejoice that Gigi has returned to us in all his glory.
And then he never came back again.
Just because I said that.
I look at his face.
Glad I've learned a new nickname for you.
Oh, we'll tell you stories, don't you worry. But for those of you who've been listening to us for a while, you'd be interested to hear that we are part of Tech Heads, which is part of ABW Productions, a media production organization here at Ohio University. We here at Tech Heads do all sorts of cool things with video games, movies, music, anime, all sorts of cool stuff. Podcasts, videos, internet, blogs. We're pretty awesome. But we're here today to talk about anime, specifically two different subjects for today. Mamoru Hosoda's film, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, and episodes 7 and 8 of Korra, Beginnings, Part 1 and 2.
Those aren't anime, Alex.
I know, but we're talking about them anyways.
It's animation.
Technically, we're an anime/animation podcast, so we don't just exclusively do anime.
I think you just tacked it on out of
It would
convenience.
always be bad shows all the time.
Jeremy's Bad Movie Podcast.
I know some of those.
I can believe it.
Yeah, well, Kenny's got his Bad Movie Corner, so.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We watch bad movies and
Are we
stuff.
now we're
Yeah.
plugging Kenny stuff too.
Pretty
Well,
much.
Kenny makes all of our content. I feel like we have to.
That's
Oh,
true.
what are you
It's a little
talking
bit
about?
true, actually.
Like this?
Not all of it, just like 75% of it.
I'll dig it.
All right. Real quick, there hasn't really been much news, anything important news related going on in the industry lately, but just one thing that we are now doing is we are going to see the third Madoka Magica film in theaters in Cleveland on December 8th because
I'm
it's
all
playing
excited.
there. So let's see, it's Kenny, me, and Andrew are
Yep.
definitely going, right? And
took it
Gretchen and
already.
Clara might be going. So that's
Jeremy
gonna be
says you're
cool.
wrong.
I might be going because, it'd be nice to visit my family.
Yeah, I forgot that Jeremy's lives in Cleveland. It depends on
Why?
because you only have 5 spots in your car, right?
I can make a sixth, but that's illegal.
Yeah.
So-
No.
So we'd have to get a second car if we wanted more than 5 people. That's the only problem. But we'll figure that out later. December 8th is a long ways away.
Like a month and a half.
Yeah. So a month and a half away then. Whatever. Why don't we talk about the animation we watched since last time? As for myself, I've just been keeping up with the, some of the fall 2013 shows I've been watching. I just watched a new episode of Golden Time before I came here. It's like a romance comedy show, and in episode 4, they actually get the romance going pretty quick. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be one of those shows where it's takes them the entire series to finally say that they love each other. They're getting to it faster than that, which I actually kind of like. What else was good? There was a new episode of Beyond the Boundary that came out yesterday that actually took the series and had a really dark twist in the episode with the main character that I did not see coming. It was actually really cool, nicely animated fight scene, so that was awesome. And then I also watched the film Tokyo Godfathers yesterday, which was the only Satoshi Kon film I haven't seen, and it was actually pretty good. Not the best of his films, a little eccentric and weird, but still a nice, compelling, feel-good story. And we watched
the word you were looking for, Alex.
another thing Kenny and I watched together, and Jeremy, was a little bit of Nichijou and Carmarty High School.
And the other one.
What was that called?
It's called Akaji.
Akaji. We watched the first
I've been watching
episode.
that one more or less on my own. It's kind of a little slow paced. Basically, it's about the main character Akaji as he slowly but surely climbs his way up the criminal world. At least that's what the
At the age of 13.
yes.
Yes.
At least that's what I'm told by the narrator.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten that far in the series yet, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Nice. And Kenny, you especially seem to enjoy Cromartie High School, which is completely insane but really funny at the same time.
I was going to get to that when it was my turn.
Oh, well, why don't you talk about the animation you've been watching then, Kenny?
Well, I watched Nichijou with you. I watched the show Jeremy just mentioned. I watched Legend of Korra and Bravest Warriors because all the new episodes out tonight. I haven't seen it yet. It's
Whoa,
my
he's so excited.
favorite piece of animation. It's fantastic. It's good. You should all watch it. And that's all I watched.
What about Cromartie High School?
What about it?
Well, you were going to talk about it.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have to say the funniest thing I've seen in a while, anime-wise, was that. Just the sheer ridiculousness of it. Like, one episode, they're just all humming, trying to figure out a song, and the guy's hair is always moving. Yeah. I loved it. He
Yeah.
ate all those pencils.
And
that,
there's
that can't be normal.
Mekazawa is by far the best character.
Megazawa is a champ.
We'll have to show you guys this. You weren't there,
Sweet.
but it was pretty awesome. Andrew, what have you been watching?
Captain America.
I didn't really watch anything. Like, I didn't seen Kill la Kill this week, so
Oh, I watched the 4th episode of that too. It was crazy in a Kill la Kill sort of way.
is it better than like episode? Because episode 3 was epic. I was like sold on that.
Yeah,
show after
episode
that.
4, it like there's not a big fight scene or anything. It's more silly, and the animation was kind of bad, but in a purposeful,
Oh my
like
God,
crazy
it's like
sort of
episode
way.
4 of Gurren
Was it
Lagann
killer?
all over again?
Was it what?
Was it killer?
It was Killer La Killer, perhaps.
Okay, that was so forced.
I know.
Yeah, you look
that I
pained
could
when you said
literally
that.
just hear about 50 people turning off their computers. Just,
Wait,
Alright.
they're just gonna go find something
listen
better.
to us?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you believe that? No, that was no. You see, it was so bad that people who weren't watching it had to.
Oh.
They just felt the reverberation of.
Already said.
Well, I think
I'm like,
I think we're allowed one bad joke an episode, so now we can't make another one.
got
do
it.
it.
Kenny,
Kenny, keep that in mind. Yeah.
I have taken the challenge upon myself.
Oh boy, watch out, listeners.
All right. Otherwise, I mean, Korra was watched, obviously, and
He was the one.
Shut up. You're already making the bad jokes.
Wan Fire, if you will.
Ooh, Flamio Hotman.
No,
lords.
no, I get to say that now because I was right.
Yes, Jeremy kept before the episode came out. He kept on saying he was going to be Wan Fire, and I sort of had the theory that he was going to be an Earthbender because Earth equals spring in the
Technically, he
cycle.
didn't bend anything.
No, he start. You know he was given the power of fire. Therefore,
First. But
Kenny-
the thing is, he was nothing originally.
Kenny, do me a favor and stop. Okay,
I'm just saying,
You will
both
give
of
this
you
to-
are wrong.
give it to me.
Jeremy wants it.
All right.
Anyway, other than that, no, nothing.
All right, Peter.
Yeah, I'm actually in the same boat as Andrew. I did, in fact, watch Korra, and I have been enjoying Kill la Kill. I've been rewatching episodes so that I can understand what they're saying. They just talk so fast. And I still need to watch the Pokemon First Gen Red and Blue nonsense.
Pokemon Origins.
That one.
So good.
Yeah.
It's just a big advertisement for X and Y, but I don't care.
It's really good.
Yeah,
They did
I
a
don't
really
care.
Good job.
The first
really
Pokemon
well
was just
done.
an advertisement for Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, it
What are you
was. It
saying
had
here,
a.
friend? What are you saying here, friend?
I'm saying that, maybe Pokemon the TV show is not very good in just a commercial.
Well, I would have to agree with you because Ash is a terrible character.
He is. But he has a
Except
Pikachu.
There aren't that many good characters on that show, so.
No,
We're
there-
talking about
was
Brock's a
super
champ.
smart.
yeah, Brock
Bill
is
is a good show.
Brock's the best character in the whole thing.
I will say, I saw something on Facebook today. It was like a couple of pictures, and it was like Ash, calm down, and he was like cleaning someone's house. He was like running on walls with a broom, like trying to clean this person's house. Had his like hat turned backwards, like he does during Pokemon battles. I have no idea which episode it's from, but
You
That's-
know.
It's probably from a black and white episode. Which, by the way, I actually sat down and watched some of one of those. They look extremely good now. Like, oh my god.
well, it's because
Does
we're just
does,
used
like
to seeing
the
it
writing
look.
match the animation quality?
I don't know. It wasn't dubbed or subbed. Excuse me.
Oh, so you're watching it
Makes it
raw?
worse.
Yeah, I was just watching it raw. 'Cause it's like, wow, this is real. Someone told me it was really pretty. I'm like, sure, why not? Let's watch it. I got like 10 minutes of spare time.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot crisper and more colorful now. I'll have to watch it to see, like, does it, because if it gets, like, really epic at, like, when it's supposed to be, that could actually be kind of cool to see.
He's still not allowed to win, though.
Of
Ever.
course.
Ever.
Because that's his curse.
Yeah, no.
This is gross.
Oh.
Why doesn't he try again?
What?
Why doesn't he just go back?
Because
Why
he
doesn't he
doesn't want to give up.
No. What he's saying is, why doesn't he go back to one of the older leagues?
Oh.
Or, like, once he gets beaten by the league, why doesn't he just, like, okay, that sucked. I'm going to try again.
Because he has to wait a year, I bet.
Don't care. You just wait
he's
a year.
eternally
what
useful.
I was frustrated with was someone showed me the 4th generation. I believe it was the 4th generation one. He ends up losing against this guy because the guy's got, not only does he have a Darkrai, just this random nobody character. He's got a Darkrai. He's also got a either was Latios or Latias.
So he just basically beats him with legendary Pokemon.
Yes.
That's cheating.
That is cheating.
It's literally like, hey, yeah, we're throwing a main character from one of the games at you post-game.
Because that's fair. How about you, Jeremy? What have you been watching recently?
Well, aside from Kill la Kill and Akaji and Cromartie and everything else I've been watching, I have actually been rewatching through some of the old cartoons I watched when I was younger. Johnny Bravo.
Choice. Nice.
Um,
You were watching the Men in Black animated series a while ago.
Yes, and I finished that.
Oh yeah. Was it as good upon rewatch as you remember it?
And I've actually restarted watching the Godzilla from the same creators of that show.
Okay.
Really good.
Interesting.
Anyone who hasn't seen it, I suggest it.
That would be me because I have not seen it.
Think of Kill la Kill.
It's very entertaining.
It is that.
I also feel extremely awkward every time I watch it.
So do we. We don't tell anybody about it. We're embarrassed.
No, I will not. This is one of those shows. This is kind of like Mad Bull 34. I wouldn't watch this with all of my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's.
This is coming from someone who has actively gone out of their way to show people
Terrible
Sword for
movies.
Truth. Sword for Truth and Food Fight. I'll go and show. It's like,
Food fight.
Oh God, food fights.
Yes. Which fun fact is available for $10 on iTunes if anyone wants to buy it.
and glorious 720p.
It's
Perfect.
true.
It knows what 720p is.
Apparently.
It knows what 720p is.
Yes.
In that animation
Could you
quality?
imagine Mr. Clipboard
In
HD
720
glory?
HD.
Yes.
The communist Nazis.
I want a
In
brain
720.
aneurysm. Where's my brain aneurysm?
But anyway,
There it is. All right. So now we're going to move on to the main discussion for this week, which, as I mentioned before, is going to be The Girl Up Through Time and episodes 7 and 8 of Korra. And I think we'll start with The Girl Up Through Time before we get into Korra, because there's going to be a lot of theories and good stuff to talk about with Korra. So The Girl Up Through Time, as I mentioned earlier, is a film directed by Mamoru Hosoda, the guy who directed Summer Wars, who did Wolf Children.
Part of the Digimon movie.
Actually, I looked it up. He did Our War Game, and he did the first part with them as little kids. He directed both those. He just
Those were the two good parts.
yeah. The third one was
Although
a
that
little iffier.
Agumon was just not right.
No, that Agumon was not anatomically correct.
Well, it was huge.
Anatomically.
Well, you guys
I
It,
can't
it
say
wasn't a robot. It was not like Metal
Anatomically.
What did you say, Kenny?
That's what I meant to say.
Agumon in the Digimon movie. Have you ever
Oh,
seen
I'm
it?
so sorry. I thought you were mentioning a character from The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I'm like, who's anatomically correct?
No. We were
some
complaining about Digimon.
I'm sure he's
Deformed
perfectly
character.
correct in every
You know.
anatomical way.
Digimon's our stick.
Yeah, but Girl Up to Time came out in 2006, and it was produced by Studio Madhouse, who's done a lot of films, obviously. So they're a really good production studio,
Like
and
how many?
they've been around since like the 80s, I think. They've
So
made
they
a
did
lot.
at least 10 films.
I think a few more than that.
Okay, solid.
All right, but overall, I mean, I really didn't have a problem with the film animation-wise. Like, it was gorgeous throughout. I love.
Thank you.
You worked on it.
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
It's my first job. How do you think I got here? I'm actually like 30.
Whoa, you're
Wow,
just
you
like
look really
all
young.
these anime characters who look way too young for their
Yeah,
age.
exactly. I'm
Kenny,
way too old.
you're not timeless?
No, I actually
I
age. My
thought you
body
were
stays the same, but I
above
still age.
this nonsense.
I'm the opposite of Ash.
You were in the beginning times.
All of them.
Oh, wait. You're the opposite? Are you like Benjamin Button?
Yeah.
You age
Awesome.
backwards.
I don't have much left.
Oh no,
20 years, man.
Kenny, you're gonna be all right.
Hope so.
All right, but this guy definitely has a certain style. I don't really know how to describe it, but the way his characters are designed and like the way that he animates the faces and everything, they're really expressive, which I really like. Actually, like it seems like they open their mouths a lot too. Like in this movie, like Makoto like has her big evil laughs or whatever, and her mouth just opens up to the point where it's covering half of her face. But I like it. It's a cool look, I think. And also the music throughout was really good. I actually have some of the soundtrack to this film on my iTunes. It's like a lot of piano pieces, which I'm always a fan of. So
It sounded nice.
No.
Yes, it did.
Solid.
I've seen this movie like 4 or 5 times at this point, but this was for the rest of you. This is all your first time seeing it, correct?
yes.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but this is kind of my take on the movie. I was watching it. A slightly flighty girl finds a magical walnut that gives her the ability to jump through time. And then we find out later on that the magical walnut is actually a time travel device from a guy from the future.
Pretty much.
Yep.
I'm surprised he wasn't an
That is
alien.
the general synopsis.
At first, I thought it was like the magic walnuts from the Sword of Mana series. They give you like 80 MP. They're really useful.
But it's not.
What?
It would have been more
It's a
interesting.
time traveling walnut. Ooh.
Okay, you know what? That was there was a couple plot holes in the movie, but that's not a plot hole. It's just why a walnut?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Well, are you going to steal a walnut? Are you going to steal a walnut?
You
I
might,
hate you.
yeah.
No,
She
really,
clearly
yeah.
did.
I was really
She
confused
fell on a walnut
because
'cause
I
she's
got in
clumsy.
like halfway through the movie and I just saw walnut. She's like, "This is what gave me my powers." And I'm like, "Did I really miss an acid trip or something?"
Nope.
Yeah, Kenny came in about
Also,
halfway
she's
through.
clearly the main character is clearly has the observation skills of something with very poor observation skills. I can't come up with a comparison right now.
brick.
Banana slug.
There you go.
Okay.
I will admit the whole idea that she never noticed the number for like the longest time is a little silly because it was
Thank
like
you.
tattooed onto her arm. But
She just doesn't
It
bathe.
also gave her like 50 jumps or something.
Well, yeah, she did. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I gave her like 100 because she was jumping a lot, you know, which is actually one of my favorite parts of the movie because it's basically like, okay, teenage girl gets magical powers to travel through time. What does she do with it? Does everything to make her life awesome, you know,
Yeah,
like
I mean-
traveling back in time so she can do well on the test, you know, traveling back in time so she can keep doing the song karaoke thing over and over again, get the
Yeah, that's
food that
funny.
she wanted, get her allowance. You know, it's totally relatable.
I don't know any of those things, but I'll agree to it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just one of my favorite parts of the movie because that's where it's like fun and happy, and you get that scene of her like standing there on the grass hill, like doing her maniacal laugh,
And then she
she's
kills
like,
her friends.
Yeah, that train.
Well, it's actually all started, you know, because we were watching this movie in our apartment with Mark was there, and when she hit the train tracks and started flying in the air, he was like, "Oh my God, are they actually doing this?" You know, and I think they do it pretty effectively, where she's like tumbling through the air in slow motion as she's talking about how this was supposed to be a good day, you know, and then it speeds back up and you just see the train plow through the bike, and it's like, "Ooh,
Crank that.
she's totally dead."
Womp womp.
So dead.
I wasn't super attached to her character yet.
No,
I mean,
I
No,
never really got
no.
attached to her, honestly.
What? Why not?
I liked her in the sense that she was what a actual teenager would do with like infinite time travel powers that weren't
Yeah,
infinite.
Wait, she
Around that
died?
part, I kind of got attached. Most of her problems were relatable until
I didn't say
she
her
got
problems
asked
were-
out.
Except for the pudding. Like, what is the deal with the
No,
pudding?
I understood the pudding because it's like somebody
Yeah.
like if somebody ate like your cake, would you be upset about that?
I would be upset about cake.
I would
I
be-
guess I'm just not a pudding guy.
No, I'd be mildly upset for like the first like, hey, someone ate my cake. Oh,
Wait,
well,
did she
life
go back
goes
in time
on.
to take someone's
But
cake?
it's your
No, she
sibling.
went back and then I smack him upside the head once and I move on.
I think it was Peter who made the joke that like kind of how Nia's ring was like the secret thing that Simon always wanted in the Gurren Lagann movies, and this movie was going to be the pudding. The pudding was the driving force for everything that happened.
It was the
It
driving
was,
force.
man.
It was
Wait,
the driving
so-
force for the beginning half of the movie.
Which is really
Kenny's mind is like,
was.
I have no. I'm just imagining you're stealing someone's pudding and she gets magic powers from a walnut.
Yeah, no, that's what happens.
Okay, no, that's fine. Don't ruin this for me. I'll take that.
okay.
Also, baseball. Lots of baseball.
Lots of baseball.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this much baseball since
Baseball game.
Angel Beats. Oh.
no, I was
Field
actually
of
thinking
Dreams?
of Fooly Cooley.
That's true. There was a good bit of baseball in Fully Cooley.
I'm honestly kind of confused. She didn't seem extraordinarily fond of baseball as a thing. Why did she continue going back to baseball?
Because she likes her friends, not baseball.
Yeah,
she just
dude.
likes chilling
Yeah,
with
it's the
that.
And
camaraderie.
is baseball her friend's only characteristics? Like that seems to be the only thing they wanted to do
Baseball.
that summer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love me some baseball.
guys.
I know, but it seemed like she liked it because Chiaki was going to talk to her like, "Oh, hey, did you watch the game last night?" You know, so she probably follows it,
What's his face? The non-love interest male.
right?
The doctor one.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I don't know.
Non-interest love.
He was
no
the one
one.
that got run over by
We're
a
gonna call
train.
him Doctor.
Yeah. His
boy?
I'm fairly certain that his two defining characteristics were you girls are gross and baseball. Yeah.
Well, I thought
Baseball.
it was funny in that one occasion where the girl who was like in love with him, you know, the random freshman, like went up to ask him out, and he was like, you know, I am what was it like?
Baseball, yeah.
Well, it wasn't baseball. He's like, how could a slacker like that beat me at a test? I'm sorry, I just got to study more. You know, because that was after she aced the pop quiz because she left back in time for it. You know, so he's very like study man. You know, he was like the straight man, whereas Chiaki was like more of the guy who's not a bad boy, but he would come late to school and didn't care as much about grades. Obviously.
We're
incompetent
talking
one.
like
He
this
doesn't
is-
have to care about his grades though.
But
doesn't.
this is the guy who was like, when the girl's like, I don't like you. He's like, well, you heard the lady, then walked off.
Yeah, that
That's him.
guy.
Okay, yeah,
The black-haired one.
making sure.
seriously, his for the most part, his character was baseball.
Baseball and studying.
Baseball. Apparently, he was like a really nice guy who would like spend time with old people, and that's how the freshmen
Well,
like,
that's
fell
what we
in love
were
with him.
told.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we were told. We never
Well,
saw it, though.
and he was portrayed as like the guy who's friends with everyone. You know, he's just a nice guy.
Except he kind of wasn't.
Well, he was a little bit rude to the girl who asked him out.
Baseball.
But then in a different timeline, he started going out with someone else, and then she was like,
And then they died.
well, yeah. We'll get to that later because that's like the climax of the. Well, sort of. No, that's not the climax of the movie. That's more like the second act break more than anything else. But we were making the joke about the fact that the apparently fire extinguishers are very heavy in this
Clearly,
world.
this guy is
Ordinarily.
struggling so much. I'm looking at this thing. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that fire extinguisher is more than maybe 15 pounds. Like, he's lifting it. Damn thing's got to be at least 50.
Okay, I mean, wouldn't the point of a fire extinguisher for it to be fairly mobile? Like, you
So
need
anybody
to carry
could
it
use
about
them?
and put out fire.
Also, those two guys, those guys who were freaking out. Stop spraying us.
Well, it does depend on the
It's
type of
very-
fire extinguisher.
It was a CO2 one.
It was a
so it's
CO2
going to
one.
be
It would
very
be
cold.
cold.
But there's 5 of them and 1 of him. What prevents them from just ignoring it long enough to rip the darn thing
The
out
side
of their
effect of the
hands?
weapon is it leaves them frozen for a turn, and then he's just spamming at them.
He's
stun locking them.
effects.
It's like an RPG.
This is not Knights of the Old Republic. That is not what happens.
You don't know that?
We can hope. Everything should be Knights of the Old Republic.
All the things should be KOTOR.
But okay,
Yeah.
move it. Okay, but aside from Mr. Freakout Man,
Also,
Yeah.
just
Whose
he
character
blamed her
motivation?
for no particular reason.
this is all your fault.
Like, dude, I asked you to fry like a shrimp.
Well, also he was all like, being picked on, and then she helped. Then her friend helped stand up for him, and then he decides to go all crazy on her, and I was like,
You seem just kind of ungrateful.
yeah.
Well,
he's
he-
clearly unhinged.
it's
Mentally.
as
Yeah.
it's as if because he says like it's all your fault, and really she just traded places with him. But of course, in the context of the movie, it sort of is her fault because she went back in time and changed, that because it happened to her.
I think the moral of the story is just don't get time travel and trust it with a teenager.
Yeah,
Or anybody.
honestly-
It's the same moral with every time traveling.
Just
thing
don't touch
ever.
time.
Time traveling is terrible. It
Which
will
is-
only ruin your life.
Which is a
Ocarina of
weird
Time is the
moral.
only thing I
Moral.
can think of where that's not the moral, and even then it's sort of like,
It kinda
yeah,
is.
don't do it.
It kind of still is the moral.
Because Link gets
the
sent
only
back
reason-
in time,
Yeah.
and he's like, dude, I just saved the princess. I was totally going to ask you out on a date.
No, clearly it is the moral though, because he goes forward in time and everything goes to crap.
Oh, yep.
That's true.
I don't understand the time
don't
travel
have to worry
moral is
about that.
bad because it's like, when are we gonna get the opportunity to time travel then?
Never.
Sci-fi, then get over it.
Well, I think like in this film, it seemed like the theme was pretty obvious. That message she sees on the chalkboard: "Time waits for no one."
Well, yeah, it's
Except
about,
no, it clearly does though. When you can
Freeze time.
when
But
you
it-
can move through time by just jumping, it can wait for you. No,
Well, right, but that's
time doesn't just wait for you. Time is your lapdog.
Also-
Time is at your beck and call, my friend.
Also, that walnut is extraordinarily exploitable. If you just have 2 people with them, you can just keep going back in time and give yourself basically infinite uses. You just go back in time until the person before your friend used their last one and just keep going like that. You just have infinite uses of nuts.
of nuts, the magic walnuts.
Yeah, the fact that she could go back in time and give back jumps.
Yeah, well, it does seem to be. It's definitely the type of time travel where like she doesn't, or there's not like two of her in the same timeline. When she jumps back in time, her like old self like disappears or teleports to that spot or whatever.
From what I can tell, it wasn't actually time travel. It was basically traveling to an alternate reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she did go to different times in the different realities, though.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, well, yeah. What was it? The aunt said like you can't turn back time, so you yourself are just like leaping to a different point in time, but time itself isn't like rewinding.
That's a stupid explanation, and I said it was a stupid explanation, and it's still a stupid explanation.
It might have been an issue
the
of
time
the
travel
sub or dub or whichever one it was.
Yeah, I'm not explaining it properly, to be honest. I don't really remember the full context of what she said, but
yeah, it could be mistranslation.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Personally, I don't like you brought up plot holes earlier, Jeremy. I didn't really see any plot holes with it because like the big twist that happens at the end, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Chiaki's a time traveler,
Spoilers.
That's not the plot hole I was talking
Well,
about.
what's the plot hole you think there is then?
Okay, one of the ones I think there was oh god, I can barely remember this movie now because I watched it last week.
So long ago.
hey. Was not, you know what? If it's not awful enough or amazing enough that I can't remember it a week later, it's the movie's fault.
No, fair enough.
Oh,
So-
God, just give you. I wish Jared was here. He was the one who pointed it out, and I actually agree with him.
Okay.
It had to do with something where she could have jumped to prevented a lot of the problems, and she refused to jump there.
Are you saying like so she jumped like back to when she had more jumps? Like
She
on
could
her?
have.
I think someone else needed to jump back in time to before she had her
Yeah.
use it up. I think 2 people are necessary. Even then, that's super gameable, and I would totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think he's right because it's when Chiaki uses his last time leap that she regains the one that she, you know.
Because it put her to when she was still at 1. Although I'm not gonna say she should have had more than 1, and that was just really convenient for the plot. But for what could have happened there is that clearly, since Chiaki clearly had control over time itself, because he didn't just leap through time,
Yeah.
he froze time.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like he
it's
was just like
impressive.
taunting her through a sea of just random street people.
Yeah, no, I am the time wizard. I have a level of technology that is comparable to magic at this point.
Let's do the time warp again. You
I mean,
could say.
time doesn't wait for anyone except for him when he wants to do exposition.
He did go back in the future all the way to their time and just stayed there for entire summer.
Also, I would like to point out that he is that he clearly comes from some horrible dystopian future.
Yeah.
Where baseball is just like the greatest solace of mankind.
Yeah. Well,
no, what was it? There's no green spaces anymore.
And there's no blue
no
sky.
no
or
blue
rivers.
sky.
And the art
for
is all
people.
just
So why do you guys stay there? Why not go back in
But
time?
they obviously have. How does it get that bad when you have time travel?
Yeah,
like,
no.
couldn't you go back and fix that?
There's
Or
some,
go
yeah,
back
there's-
and bring something to the future. Like just bring that stuff to the future.
Well, I mean, you can't bring the sky to the future.
I beg to differ.
No, what
Like
you need to
the
do is
nuclear
you need
war.
To, you need to go to a particular point in history. Doesn't matter when. And
Steal their resources.
no, right when the time travel. No, when you have time travel, when you have developed time travel, you absolutely have you no longer have any excuses for why everything in the present day is bad. Hi, yeah, we literally have the power of gods now, but we're just gonna live in misery and squalor
well,
anyway.
but it depends on the type of time travel because there's some time travel where you travel back in time,
Paradox
but
theory.
you've already traveled back in time, so the future is unchangeable because you already did do what you are currently doing.
God, time
you know?
travel sucks.
It's so confusing.
wibbly wobbly,
Moving
timey
on.
wimey.
Okay.
we need to stop talking about the rules of time travel like real quickly because or else it's just
Yeah.
gonna turn into that.
I will say though,
forever.
with the future thing that you brought up, this is something you notice. Like I noticed now because I've seen the movie a few times. When the aunt talks about the painting thing that she's got there, she specifically mentions it was made during a time of like war and famine. You know, and she was like, "How could someone make something so beautiful in a time when the world seemed like it must have been ending?" And the fact that Chiaki wants to go back to see that particular painting definitely would suggest, yeah, things are pretty bad in the future for whatever
clearly
reason.
dystopian.
They also have bad taste in art.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, I had to actually stare at that. I actually had to stare at that painting for a while to figure out what I was looking at.
I didn't even notice the face
You
for the
actually get to
first
see
like
the
3
painting?
minutes.
What?
They really do like
Yeah, you
take-
see the
keep
painting.
that shot on that face for like ever.
I'm
So
sorry,
you
it took me
get it.
that long. It
So
took
that
me
you
as long
get
as it
it.
was up there to
Wait,
figure out what I was looking
Is
at.
it baseball?
It's not baseball.
No, it's
like
flowers.
It's an abstract like painting.
Yeah, because I
thing.
thought you weren't gonna be able to
With
see the
face.
picture. Because I never saw the painting. I just assumed it never existed.
Oh no.
I'll keep that painting safe for you, and I'll be waiting for you. Ah.
God.
So
I'll
like
be
80.
30. I'll be waiting for you, sweetie.
He never tells her how far the future it is. She just knows it's in the future. She could be like 90 and be like, "Hey, you're looking awful." And
No, what I think is gonna happen is she's gonna die, and he's gonna be born 200 years later.
Sit there waiting the rest of his life.
oh my
Where
God.
is she?
That bitch.
Well, when he goes into the future, couldn't he just get another time walnut and then go back in time to go see her again?
yeah, but he sort of committed a no-no by telling someone in the past about time travel.
Okay,
so I don't know if
clearly.
they'd give him another one.
I'll put this right out there. Clearly, there is no time police, though. So
No time police.
Well, I will say, you know,
you shouldn't do this
because
we'll be very upset.
I personally I don't think the movie has very many plot holes. Like I think it's a pretty well constructed plot. But the idea that in the future, like I guess I assume you got to do some sort of test. But the fact that just about any citizen can have a time travel device just seems like
No.
the timeline would just be screwed to all hell if that was the case.
It's just such a terrible
quickly.
idea. There's a good reason why in almost every single science fiction thing that has time travel, it's extremely restricted to only like 3 or 4 people in the world.
Yeah,
Maybe
and generally
the-
one of those people is evil and corrupt and like
Yeah.
destroys.
And they bring back
things
Robo
and-
Super Hitler and he kills everybody.
Exactly.
Robo Super
I
Hitler.
think they gave him the right to time travel because his reason for time traveling was just so like inconsequential and stupid. They're like, sure, you can't screw anything up while looking at a painting and playing baseball.
Sure, fine,
Clearly
whatever.
he did.
Clearly.
Sure, you can go back and look at a painting. Here's your walnut.
What could
have
possibly go
fun.
wrong? Yeah, if you've explained your case to them.
Yeah, maybe it's a
picture.
case by case basis. Like, I want to see a painting. All
Like,
right, fine, whatever.
Is it the Mona Lisa? No, it's just like this old painting. Barely anyone knows about it.
You know, just a painting.
Okay, fine, whatever.
It's really underground. It's really obscure. You've probably never heard of it.
He's a hipster.
He's a hipster in the
A
future.
time hipster.
Baseball
Yes.
is
Time hipster from the
super trendy in
hipster.
the future.
A
Like-
time traveling hipster with a magic walnut.
It's too trendy though. It's mainstream.
Uh,
But in the past though, it's not. It's underground.
Yeah, man.
dear God, temporal hipsters.
And I'm just
That sounds
imagining him
worse.
just like as a dirty hip, like with a dirty like almost homeless man look going on. Really long beard, just tattered clothes. The only reason you know he's not homeless though is because he has like a $50 coffee in his hands.
Yeah. I will say
Stupid temporal hipsters.
I do enjoy a lot of the cinematography in this film. There's one shot that always sticks out to me where she first like leaps through time for reals when
realsies.
when she's standing on like that grass thing by the river and she's like, no way it's possible, stands up and like walks off up the hill into the background and like she's completely out of the frame for like 20 seconds and then she just comes running straight down the hill, and jumps as those kids are skipping the stone, and she time leaps like intentionally for the first time. I think that's a really cool moment.
Yeah.
And I think the kid even says, like, you hear him talking in the background, like, did she disappear for a second? And she's like, no, you're crazy. So I guess that's sort of what happens. Like, she disappears and reappears like in an instant. But so if you're paying close attention, you might notice.
Why was like the 7-year-old paying super close attention to the girl?
He was
I mean,
like,
the girl's
Because she was
shrinking.
just randomly jumping into the river.
yeah,
is she
jumped,
just
like,
super
50 feet into the
fond
river.
of watching people commit suicide?
Well, no, I mean,
Well,
she would
you
have
know what?
died.
No, I
in-
almost said something I was going to regret.
He just wants to swim.
Okay, fine. So you're just chilling by the river, and then suddenly this girl just like runs up and just like jumps 50 feet into the river. You gonna watch that?
You
Okay,
clap,
I'm
at
gonna
least give her a
watch
10
that.
out of 10.
Hold up a little sign.
10 for
Nine.
splash.
Nice.
You didn't stick the landing
2,
super well.
unimpressed.
Because she like falls on her head every time she jumps through time.
Yeah,
so,
clearly she has some sort of brain damage by the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Because she remembers every collision she had. It's always her head. So I'm reasonably certain that she has at least some mild level of brain
I
damage by the
don't.
end.
That was a moment. It's like it's sort of a thing where it's like they're using basically the same joke. Like she leaps through time and spins something and hits something, and but every time I laughed at it.
Whoa.
Something about brain damage is just hilarious.
Something about brain
apparently.
damage makes this funny.
You are
It's funny
sick
because
little
she's
moo
gonna
cow.
die.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny when she was rolling down a very steep concrete hill and just got
Or-
cut the heck up.
Or remember the time when she
but-
jumped off of the diving board of like the swimming team,
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
so she could fall onto her bed in the past.
I actually saw that one.
You actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Finally getting to where Kenny watched the movie.
there.
And that's where I entered in.
Yeah, but Peter, you're talking about the moment where she's skidding on the road. See, for me, that's like definitely like the most intense moment in the movie because, like, she's like, all right, well, I rewound time and didn't talk to Chiaki, but everything's normal now. And then her friend goes by on the bike, and it's just like slow motion, and I don't know, just when she's like screaming, stop, 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 like over and over again, just getting more and more desperate. That was really effective moment in the movie for
No,
me.
it was. It was a good climax to that plot line.
Must watch 9.5 out of 10.
Well, you actually saw that moment.
Yes, I did. That's why I said 9.5.
Oh, okay.
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Jeremy loved it. Right, Jeremy? Give me that look.
And I also like the bit where she's where Chiaki like confesses to her for the first time, and she's like, "Well, I'm gonna avoid this situation, rewind time,
And waste one of her, last two.
Well, no, this is earlier in the
Oh,
movie,
never mind.
and when she still thought she had a plenty, and she sort of did. But then he just keeps on getting like more desperate to like confess to her because she's like trying to like, hey, let's talk about my sister. I really want to talk about my sister. He just like blurts out, "What do you want to go out with me?" I thought that was a nice little moment too.
She was
She
really
asked.
determined for that to just not do anything.
Well, because she just can't deal with that, which is where I stopped that was the point where I kind of started to be annoyed by her because I'm like, okay, look, just like deal with him asking you out. It's not even that hard to like deal with that as a thing.
Not if you have time travel. If you have the option to never do it, why would you ever do it?
But like,
But it seems like whatever she does, he does it anyway.
like she
Yeah.
like wasted like 5 to 7.
It had to be at
jumps
least
on
10.
that.
It had to be at least 10.
Okay, she wasted like 10 jumps,
Right.
just like
Time
trying
police,
to
why are
hope
you
that this
missing,
was not the
10
timeline
jumps?
where he would ask her out. But he clearly was like hell bent on this.
But here's an idea. If you know it's going to happen, just go home without him.
Well, that's what she ended
Well,
up doing.
that's what
Yeah,
did in the
but
end.
it took her that long. There's her logic leaves a little bit.
Well, she didn't want to hurt his feelings by just walking away home alone. And
How would it hurt her feelings?
or
hurt his feelings?
Well, I don't know, because remember when she does do that, the other friend, the black-haired friend, is like, "What did you do to her?" And he's like, "Nothing." You know, like it's obvious that she's sad about something, and it's like, "Well, what did I do wrong?" Because that's another thing I sort of empathize with Chiaki with, because there's that bit where he's like wants to talk to her, but she keeps like hiding in school to avoid him. And he's throwing the baseball with his friend. He's like, I just don't get it. Like, why is she mad at me? You know, because he doesn't understand, because he doesn't know that she's been time leaping in the confession and blah, blah, blah. You know, so I don't know. You're supposed to get a little frustrated with her because obviously she's using her time travel to run away from her problems when she should just confront them in the present, like, you know, a mature adult would. And that's how she grows, because by the end of the movie, you know, she
can't do it anymore.
Well, yeah, she uses her last time leap and basically fixes everything, you know, makes things right.
She should have gone to when she first ran into the walnut.
No, it's like the end. It's like Majora's Mask. Like you have to plan out the perfect run for that last time.
Yeah, but when... So are you implying that, like, to go back in time before she hit the walnut so she could, like, get more leaps out of it?
Yeah.
But then wouldn't she create a paradox where when she went to the walnut, it would have been all used up, so she wouldn't have gotten the time travel in the first place?
No. Because she goes right before she first touches the walnut in the first place.
That's true, she does.
Also, she could put it somewhere where she could actually like see the number instead of like it's sort of like in the worst possible spot.
Yeah, it's true. Like, whoever designed this stupid magic walnut, why would you put it, like, on right below your elbow?
Obviously,
We're
It'd
going
be
to tattoo it on your skin.
Well, it's obviously hilarious.
Instead of just being just something that you intrinsically know. Because we have the power to give you time travel, but we can't just let it download the information in your head. Oh, no. We got to leave a tattoo.
Well, it
But
leaves
the guy has
interesting.
it on his wrist.
It leads toward
That's true.
antics, though. So people who don't know what it is, they hide it. Like you don't know you can time
Well,
travel.
actually,
If you
wait.
find it, you earn
was
it.
that there because that's when she fell over, and I don't really remember. You correct me
She
if I'm wrong.
hit the walnut.
Did
with
she
her
hit
elbow.
that? Like, is that where she hit the walnut when she fell over in the science
She
room?
might have, actually.
But
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So then that's
Oh,
why
that
it's there.
makes
Is
So
because
just put
it
it
was an
somewhere where it's
accident.
like visible.
No,
Yeah, so
no,
he,
no. What
like,
I'm
hit his wrist.
what I'm still saying though is that why isn't the walnut just downloading the information into her head?
Oh.
You know, she should have.
That
She
goes
should
in the
have.
same category as why is it a walnut?
Or you
Because
say,
why not?
Yeah.
She should have just like headbutt it so she got the numbers in
Why
her
did
head.
she
They thought
just
she was
use,
an actual
use the
wizard.
walnut to fight the Titans?
bringing this back to Attack on Titan. Yeah, and I know. I thought that the twist with Chiaki being like the actual time traveler was nice, you know, and you got the scene with where he was a time wizard and stopped time, you know, and their tearful goodbye scene. I know. I thought that was pretty effective.
It was
And
really
then-
effective. I'll give him that. I'm a little curious as to how he found out that she was doing time
Oh,
leaps. but-
because how she reacted to the bike thing was pretty obvious. Because like, there's no way you could see that coming. That's a random accident.
So he saw that happening?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Also, this is my question. She knew the bicycle brake was gonna break. Why did she keep taking it to school?
I don't know. You think you would just get that fixed after a while? Like,
Yeah.
Or you
She's
could just
gonna
like
charge
text
him-
immediately. Text no.
Was
Yeah.
it like
Oh
5,000?
yeah, no, that's one of those things. Yeah, I'm gonna take your bike. Just text back. No, don't. The brake is broken.
Didn't
Yeah.
she want to charge him like 5,000 yen for using it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how eventually she stopped him from doing it.
It's-
Why
Instead
would
of
you
just
just say,
saying,
"Don't use
like-
my bike"? That's all you had to say,
Or you could just say my bike is broken.
and then shoot it so it's broken.
No, you could just show that the brake is not
Well,
working.
yeah, I admit she probably could have just texted him immediately, but her first inclination was, oh, I'm going to run and see if he's still here. Oh, wait, he's not here. And then she tried to call him, but he was on the phone with his dad, so she couldn't talk to him.
has an instantaneous mode of communication.
Also, why did
She
he still-
clearly knows how a phone works.
Also, why would he still be there? He has a bike that he's riding a girl to the hospital on.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Why didn't you just call his dad to pick him up? Why would you ride a bike with a girl with a broken leg almost?
Dad has more
Dad's
things to
busy?
do than that.
He might be.
He's a
I don't care if you
surgery.
call your dad, like, yeah, this girl's leg's probably broken. I'm gonna ride a bike with her. And
So
he's
yeah,
like,
I'm gonna
"No."
ride her down like the steepest hill in Tokyo.
Yeah. No. I think anybody call her parents. What are they doing? Now I'm
Really
upset.
being useless.
A little bit.
Feeding their other child pudding.
Yeah.
It's all the pudding.
All
Pudding,
that
mate.
pudding. It all comes back to pudding.
Freaking pudding plot.
It was quite delicious. Her reaction after eating that pudding was just like super worth it.
It was all totally worth it. And then you got the final scene, which also had another nice like long shot that I liked where she turns around after the final goodbye scene, like there by the river, and he's like gone and she's like walking away crying. And you just get that wide shot of her like walking away on the path, and then eventually he shows up again and like hugs her and says, I'll be waiting for you.
Except she'll totally be dead.
Yeah, when you're probably dead or really old.
Well, I got to assume if he's saying that, he can't be that far in the future.
But see, that's
Which makes me
terrifying.
like-
Except he clearly is, unless dystopian Japan rolls around in
Like
Like
within a
50
few years,
years.
and they get time travel within a few years.
because I don't think the kid's even been born yet.
Probably, I don't know. It could be like 20 years in the future, maybe.
I think it's.
That would still make her.
It would be like a 40-year-old with a 20-year-old, which is weird, but not unheard of.
No. The thing is though, he's 17. If it's 20 years in the future, that means he'll be born in 3 years.
Right.
I can't see 20. Like 50 at the minimum.
Yeah,
So-
I would
I
definitely
can see
say
that.
like half a
So
second.
she'd be like in
No,
her
the
60s or
dystopian
70s.
future is actually just his basement. He doesn't leave it very often.
That's why he's so
Like
pasty.
he also has
There-
time
there-
travel.
There's no blue sky because he's in the basement. There's
But
no
there's-
rivers.
but
Like
there's-
he's looking for something
but-
pretty, and
but
he's just
he-
got a
Nothing
really
but a
bad
river
monitor.
of tears.
But he has time travel, so.
Because he
time
obviously
travel.
invented
It was
his
a gift
basement.
from his father.
His father.
That makes
time
sense why it's
travel?
walnuts.
Yes,
The walnuts fell down into his basement, so he made it into a time device.
I have made canon.
All
Accepted
right.
headcanon.
Whoa.
Wait, okay.
Okay.
I do have one question.
Okay.
Is it timely?
If. Shut up, you.
I'm going to hurt Kenny after this
All right.
podcast.
So if like it's implied that like there's no they can't see the sky anymore, so they probably live underground, and that's why they can't see the rivers. How do you get a walnut?
well,
somebody-
I assume it's not an actually a
Well,
walnut.
then,
It just
well,
looks
then-
like one.
Well, like then if it's so far in the dystopian future and they live underground, it's like, well,
Maybe-
why do we base off a walnut when like we just
Because
Okay, wait,
in
hear me out on this.
dystopian mythos, walnuts are super delicious. And
I
they're
have an
like,
idea.
I really wish I had a walnut.
Why do
What's
you-
the best thing we can make a time travel
No, I
device
totally
look
know
like
why
to
it's
make
a
it like
walnut.
cool looking walnuts?
Okay, ready, guys? All right, so are you guys familiar with Doctor Who?
a little bit.
No.
right.
No.
The reason the TARDIS
no.
looks like it is because the chameleon device. It has a chameleon device. Like, what's normal in this time period? A walnut.
No, that's not normal. for
totally
some
why.
random. Also, that's a really big walnut. If anyone else noticed.
Well, the machine's probably not intelligent. It's
Well,
like,
I
I will
mean,
become
you know,
walnut.
the time device can't be like walnut size. It's gotta be a little bit bigger. It's gotta be like Pokeball sized.
But herein lies the problem that it's a terrible cloaking device. If
We never said it was
That's
good.
what it is. It's a terrible cloaking device.
It's still, it tried
no,
to close.
I'm gonna believe it was actually a walnut because when it broke, it actually looked like a walnut shell.
It was
Get
trying
it.
to stick with it. It was like, come on, keep playing it, boys.
no. It was clearly it was a magical walnut.
Except when it was glowing red. Then it did not look like walnut.
Maybe he's Merlin and lied and came from the past. It's his magic walnuts.
We can't see the sky because it's always raining because we're in Britain.
we can't see the rivers because if
And
we go
there's-
near the rivers, the ghosts will drown.
And there's no people because everyone's died of the Black Plague.
It's
Also,
a little after Merlin,
so-
Alex.
Somehow it just became Dishonored in the future. That's good to know.
There you go. That's the solution. So overall thoughts about the movie. Personally, for me, like I really love Murder Soda. I'd probably say Summer Wars and Wolf Children are better than this movie, but that's just because those movies are really great and this one's just great. But I don't know. I personally really enjoy it. You know, the animation's great. The characters are fun. You know, the animation's very expressive. The dialogue's pretty realistic most of the time. You know, it's got some nice plot twists. You know, I liked it a lot. Andrew, how about you?
I liked it a lot, actually. By and large, I was like, oh yeah, it was a cute movie. The characters were all realized enough that I didn't think any of them were super passive. And each of them had their own little plot hook, and she used the time travel for and it kind of just transitioned from plot hook to plot hook. It went from the test thing to the him asking her out thing to the other girl asking her other friend out thing. Like but it did flow well, which is good. And yeah, just overall I enjoyed it despite the things we debated about here.
All right, Peter.
I thought it was very fun. I loved the animation. I liked the characters. Again, much like Andrew, I liked that each individual one had like some little storyline going on with it. I wish she did more to try and like make the metaphorical perfect run where, you know, everyone ends up with someone, because I played Majora's Mask. Overall, I wouldn't. This isn't a movie that I would feel the immense urge to watch again, but I would I wouldn't seek it out. But if someone else was showing it, I'd go watch it.
Okay, Jeremy.
About the same. It was enjoyable for what it was. It was very pretty. Relatively well written. Overall, decent movie.
Right, and of what you saw, Kenny, what did you think?
For seeing maybe 35% of the movie, I saw walnuts, time, magic, and an alien boy from the future. So I give it like an 8 out of 10. It was fun.
All right. Well, I'll have to show you the beginning part of the movie sometime so you actually understand the
I
magic.
like it better this way though. I just know Pudding did it. That's it.
Pudding. Yeah, it was all about the pudding.
Put it in right there.
All right. Now moving on to The Legend of Korra, a.k.a. Jeremy was right.
I was right too.
Technically, you were wrong. though.
No,
both
I was
right.
right.
He was not.
He
they
was
lived on a
granted
fire
the
turtle
power of fire.
first, but he was
Wan
never a
Fire,
firebender.
baby.
He was never a firebender first, though. He
I
was just
get it.
super
We're
cool.
not going to let those puns die with
I
Sokka.
got it because it's on fire.
Also, his name, the name Wan, as I found out, also means one in, what is it? It's Japanese or
Are you surprised it means one?
no? Not even a
It even
little bit.
sounds like one. That's the joke everybody made.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Kenny. Thank you. We get the joke.
He was number
But
one.
Yeah.
those two episodes. Sorry,
I did
those
see
two
that.
episodes. Great.
Oh, yeah.
they're
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
No,
fantastic.
Art style was fantastic. Too bad we have to go back to Perot for the next episode.
Yeah. See, what's interesting about that, because I've thought about that, like, Perot hasn't done a bad job, but they're not as good as
It's
Mur.
ugly.
No, see,
Potato strongs.
yeah, that was pretty bad, I'll admit. But I didn't notice that when I was watching episode 4 itself. So
Wait, there's two different artists?
no, well, yes, the,
Two different studios.
book 1 of Korra was done by Studio Mur, and then they said, hey, Mur, can you do book 2? And Mur actually turned it down because their animators were like, well, Korra's a lot of work. We want to do something that's less work intensive. So then Nick got Studio Perot, who's the studio that does like Naruto, Bleach, things like
Oh.
that. And they've done most of the episodes so far in book 2, but then they switched over to Mur, and Mur's now doing the rest of book 2 and 3 and 4.
Because let's be completely honest here, Mur's thinking, oh God, people who don't pay this much attention gonna think that's us, and that's just gonna hurt our reputation.
That's pretty much the reason I read.
Yeah, I mean, you figure when they're doing that good of a job, because 2 episodes were gorgeous. That was on
they
that
were.
Perot, right?
See,
Oh my god, they were so
See,
It
beautiful.
but-
reminded me very much of Okami.
See, but with Perot, like episodes like 1 through 4, I really didn't have much problems with. But there was the boat sequences in 5 and 6, I definitely thought looked kind of weird, and the fights in that, were a little wonky. But I still think 1 and 2 had like that fight with the Dark Spirit. I thought that looked great. So Perot's done some great work, and they've done some kind of bad work too. And I'll definitely be happy
Overall,
that Mur's
they've
back.
done a significantly worse job than Mur.
That's fair to say. I don't
They're
think
pretty subpar. Even they're pretty subpar. Let's be completely honest here, Alec. You're gonna defend them because you like Korra, and I can understand that. But I don't like Mur. Excuse me, not Mur. I don't like Perot.
Well,
I really don't.
I know,
like
but
Perot.
I can show you some clips from stuff that Perot did, and it's like that's good animation. This fight scene here, this shot here. Like I remember that one of Mako like bending the fire from that explosion. Like I think that's a really cool shot. So they've done some nice things, but not to the same. They're not always good. Whereas Mur was almost always good in book 1. So I'm definitely happy that they're back. They're definitely a better studio. I don't think Perot did terrible, but they're not as good.
They tried.
Yeah, and it's not only the fact that Mur is back, because obviously they're great, but also just this art style, this like old Asian like oil painting sort of look was really cool.
Oh, that was awesome.
I really
love
like
the-
that, too.
I love the fire, how it like swirled
Yeah.
in the air.
Also-
It never caught anything on fire.
Was anyone, everyone? I don't know about anyone else, but when they said, "Yeah, no, we live on the lion turtles," I'm like, I was not seeing that one
I
coming.
called it.
Yeah.
I called it.
Did.
I called it.
Yeah, see,
He's super proud of himself.
Andrew, Peter, and I actually watched this in their room when the episode aired on Nick, and Peter was mentioning something about the lion turtles before the episode was on. I was like, no, it's
He
not going to
wanted
happen.
the explanation of what the lion turtles were and how they played into this thing, and we're like, that it's not going to happen because that was just the random Deus Ex Machina for the end of the first series. He was like, they're not going to ever explain that. And then they explained that.
Yeah, they
I'm
totally
giving them
Now
all
the question
looks
is
right
though,
now.
where did the lion turtles come from? Because it's implied by Rava that the lion turtles are older than the spirits.
They are.
I know.
It
I
is
thought that
implied.
was super
Also,
cool.
also, is anyone ever going to explain the sun and the fact that it's a giant dragon?
Wait,
No.
the sun was a dragon?
Yeah, you didn't,
didn't
catch
notice
that
that,
during
no.
the harmonic convergence.
No, I'll have to rewatch that.
No, the
Oh,
sun
that's gonna
was
be
a
cool.
The sun was a giant
We should
dragon.
rewatch it.
I'll rewatch that.
dragon
But
spirit,
with the lion turtle thing, though, I think that was just more of a turn of respect. Like ancient ones, you are ancient. But I think Rava and Vatu, like they said, what was it? Vatu, when he was fighting Wan, said, I lived for 10,000 lifetimes before you humans even crawled out of the muck.
That doesn't
or-
mean that the lion turtles didn't exist.
I know, but I'm saying it seems to me like Rava and Vatu are pretty much, light and dark, good and evil,
But
blah
that's
blah
just-
blah. They are
They're
the
not good and evil though, and it's implied right off the bat that Rava's not good and Vatu's not evil. They are what they
okay.
are.
Fine. Rava is or and Vatu is darkness. Let's go with that. Point is, those are two they're basically the embodiments of those forces of the universe. So it seems like
those-
they'd be the type of thing that
ex-
would be around since the beginning.
But nah, they wouldn't be actually, because the lion turtles, from what I can tell, are literally the creators of the elements as we know them. So that would actually make them the oldest beings in the universe.
Imagine them bending. How
Yeah.
neat would that be?
Well, they do show it. The flying lion turtle.
I was thinking that technically speaking, but I was seeing them actually bending, like doing.
I wonder if in reality there's just like an edge of the world in Avatar, and there's just a turtle over there. No one ever talks to him.
Yeah. Well, I figure probably there's some like when Aang got on the lion turtle, he just thought it was an island. So there are probably some lion or islands that are just sleeping lion turtles.
I don't think they're sleeping. They clearly know there's someone there, and they're just thinking the whole time. You just wait. You just wait until I go under. You just wait, buddy. You just wait.
Or wait until the boat turns completely away from them and it slowly creeps up behind them.
wait. Imagine the first guy who dove underneath the island and saw them.
and I actually saw something cool on Facebook. Someone was comparing the pictures of the lion turtles and then showed the one that Aang talked to. Aang talked to the firebending lion turtle that Wan talked to first. That they had the same marking on their forehead.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Also, this is I don't know if it's true or not, but since the one spirit, the one whose they never reveal his name, the monkey spirit.
Yeah, he
was
doesn't.
awesome.
He doesn't have a name.
the
No,
lemur
I love
guy?
him.
Yeah.
He said that there's dozens of lion turtles. So that means that there's more than 4 kinds of bending.
Well, but see how I interpreted that was that there were multiple lion turtles. Like let's say for the sake of argument that there's 24 lion turtles in the world, and then it's split up. The 4 elements are split up between them. So there's 4 lion turtles that bend fire, 4 that bend
Alex,
water.
your
blah,
math's a
blah,
little
That
off
equals,
there.
yeah.
I know.
6.
Point being that I think there's still only 4 elements. There's just multiple lion turtles that teach that certain type of element. Because if you think about it, the earthbenders are obviously everywhere, so...
Also, clearly, then it wouldn't be split up evenly. It'd be very uneven because the largest number of turtles would be the earth turtles, and the smallest number would be the air turtles.
Yeah. Well, it might not be that as much, but remember, they when the humans left the lion turtle cities there at the end, it was pretty much whoever had fire or one of the elements at that time. It's okay, you guys are the benders. No one else gets bending from us. So maybe there were just happened to be more earth people who had earth bending than the non earthbending people versus how many people took fire, how many people took earth.
All I'm saying,
We don't know what those numbers were like.
I forgot there even was lion turtles. I just saw that and I was surprised.
Because you, like everyone else, tried to block out the whole lion turtle thing.
I know.
Dude, I forgot that episode
Machina.
happened.
It was like
so
never-ending
badly.
story.
It's not a total Deus Ex Machina because I still really like the finale of Avatar: The Last
No, I like
Airbender.
the
Just because
finale.
you like
but-
it doesn't mean that it's not.
No,
I don't
it's
remember what
still-
happens.
It is totally a Deus Ex Machina because they never hint that there are lion turtles.
Wait,
or
hold
that
on,
there's
how's it
energy
Deus Ex Machina?
bending in
That's-
any way.
That's not actually. They don't hint at energy bending, but I do remember specifically
Right.
in Avatar they mentioned that there is such a thing as a lion turtle because it's explicitly mentioned in dialogue. And apparently, I've heard that if you watch the backgrounds of episodes, there's pictures of lion turtles.
But they've
in
never
a lot of
hinted at energy
places.
bending.
Yeah, I forgot about
That's
that.
true.
Energy
once.
bending was
Yeah, that kind
out
of caught me
left
off
field.
guard because my friends made me catch up the entire series in a few weeks, and I was like, energy bending. They never mentioned it once. So just deal with it.
Which is something I still find interesting because remember, the lion turtle that talked to Aang said, in the era era before bending, we bent not the elements but the energy within ourselves. So that means there was a time even before Wan's time where bending didn't exist at all and people just did energy bending.
I don't think it was
No,
people.
Turtles just did energy
Yeah.
bending, and I want to
Turtles.
see that fight because it's gonna be like the Teenage Mutant.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That's what I want. Giant Teenage Mutant Ninja
I told you
Turtles.
bending
with
would
like
be
trees
sweet.
on their backs.
And like shooting
Clutch
light,
trunk.
like energy at each other.
They bend it so hard people start living on them.
So they
No,
just,
it's not. No, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what they look like. But in reality, it's more like Dragon Ball.
Oh my god.
that would be amazing.
The tournament of turtles, if you will.
Oh,
The 20-minute toidles.
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 That's what started
Yeah.
the world. They
I don't
turned
even
it
wanna
so
think about
hard.
that.
Oh yeah, and the first thing I thought
That's
of
all he
when I
asked.
saw Wan was he's Aladdin.
Yeah,
Everything
he's
he's
Aladdin.
doing near
He's
the
Aladdin.
beginning is Aladdin.
Oh yeah, he's clearly Aladdin. Except unlike Aladdin, he's a loser.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, but Aladdin is a loser in society. He just acts all
No.
cocky.
Here's the difference though. Aladdin's a loser, but Wan's a grade A loser because Wan can't even get away.
Yeah, well,
That's true, actually.
That
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Because Aladdin does get away in the movie. Well, what was interesting was
Spoiler alert.
oh man, for like a 40-year-old movie. What I was thinking this episode was going to be was like, because we saw in the trailer like that shot of him going up in the avatar state between the big group of humans and the big group of spirits that were about to fight. So I thought this whole beginning thing was going to be a big thing of him settling some dispute between the spirits and the humans, which it sort of was, but it was really more about this light and dark thing. And I did not see that coming at all, but it was really cool.
Again, Vatu and Rava, they don't symbolize good and evil like you tried to claim they do. They even say
They're-
point blank.
They're not good and evil, but they are light and dark. However you want to interpret that. You know, chaos and order.
It's
Whatever,
I don't
whatever.
think they're even chaos and order. It's more just along the lines of
Well, no.
honestly, it's
'Cause-
it's most honestly to be completely blunt, it's more dickery versus slightly less dickery.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Rava's quote about it was like, I am like light and order. He is darkness and destruction and chaos. Something to that effect. I mean, it's
that's
not
just her
pure.
It
opinion.
does seem like a chaos and order because Vatu wanted to like plunge the world in like darkness and destruction and all
For 10,000
that,
years.
and
I mean, it would
Kill
pass.
everything
wipe-
before
and wipe
she had
off
the chance to stop him.
humans and stuff because of reasons. And
But aren't humans just the worst?
Also, I'm going to say this
Yes.
right now. I'm going to say this right now. I think I liked Vatu so much because his actor was such a massive ham the whole time.
Yeah.
He chewed the scenery so hard, and it just made me so happy.
Yeah. Well, I liked both the voice actors were great. Like I thought Rava also had a really nice voice actress, and also the lemur spirit.
Yes.
I actually looked him up.
Who was he?
he's been in lots of things.
Well,
I know the voice.
that's what was interesting. Apparently, he voiced Haku in Spirited Away,
That's it.
and he was the voice of Goofy's son in the Goofy movie.
So he's Max.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
Max.
Really?
I thought he was.
I like
Yeah.
my
That's
God.
it.
I didn't want
remember
to say
now.
anything because I was going to look crazy.
You crazy.
He was mad. That actually makes it so much better, that character.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Dad,
I
I'll
loved
be a
his
lemur.
voice and the little forget what it was, the green like forest spirit that had that like really little kid voice.
Yeah.
It was like good luck, to Wan. I loved him too.
He was nice.
They were obviously channeling a lot of Miyazaki here because
Oh,
Yeah, no,
so
they
much
couldn't
so.
have, they couldn't have beaten that any harder when they showed the deer, the
him
deer
riding
cat.
the deer thing, or
Yeah. No, you can't beat the. Want to beat the Miyazaki rug a little harder there?
or the hot spring. That's pretty much Spirited
Yeah,
Away.
it's like, I don't know if I don't know if you actually heard me, Alex. This is my exact reaction.
no, and
Not
because
a
some of the
fan?
spirits even look like the
No,
things
I
from
like
Spirited
don't
Away.
get me wrong, I
No.
like Spirited Away, but it's like God.
Well, the one that
Not a game,
the one
man.
spirit that scared me more than anything else after Wan Fire bends some of his human friends away. There's this carrot guy that comes up and gives him like some water, and it just has this horrifying looking face.
It's the turnip spirit, radish spirit.
I assumed he was
He's
a
clearly a
carrot.
carrot though.
That is one thing.
But the radish spirit was a character in Spirited Away.
Talking about the bending, one thing I like that they wove in there, because we had heard before that people learn bending from like the dragons and the bull, the badger moles, and the
Honest-
sky bison and stuff. And I always thought that was a little weird, but this, how they explain it here, makes sense because it's basically like the lion turtles gave them bending, but they could only master bending through
Observing the animals.
the animals, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Because when he fights the guys who is coming after the spirits, they're saying like Wan moves fire like I've never seen before. It's like an extension of his body, and that's after he did the dragon dance, which was really cool callback to first season. I love that.
Also, I don't know if anyone else was a little bit bothered by this. It might have just been me, but Where did the flying bison get their bending from? In the back of my head, I'm literally just thinking the airbending turtle just walks up to like, you know, what'd be really funny and just confuse people.
I love it because there's
Are the
like
bison
every other
flying?
animal is an obvious combination of other things, whereas this flying bison has 6 legs, a beaver tail, and a head bigger than the rest of its body.
And it flies.
And like the children, their heads are so large that they cannot sit upright. They just fall on
true.
their sides.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm just looking at this thing and it's like, no, clearly this was just made. Just one lion turtle. I'm gonna mess with everyone for the rest of reality. Here you go.
I can actually believe that.
Now, I have a small crazy theory. Do you think that the spring that Korra is lowered into at the beginning of the episode?
No, that's what I said. It's the
is
same
the
spring. Yeah,
I-
I think that's what it is.
I'm gonna guess no. If only because
Yeah. I mean, it is 10,000 years later. The land's going to change a
Yeah.
lot.
I'm just gonna guess no for right now, but
think
it
it
might
is.
reveal that it is. I'm hoping
Because
it's not.
it's been shown that there's not just like one, healing spring in the world, because the water up at the North Pole where the 2 fish spirits were, that was like special water, that could heal.
Special water.
Sparkle.
It's for your special eyes.
My water.
So, I don't know. I thought that was cool. And it's, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seemed to be pretty heavily implied with the whole Rava and Vatu thing, because Wan sees them wrestling there in the forest, and he, breaks them away with firebending. And they kept on talking about, like, now that they've been separated, Vatu is, like, messing with stuff. But so it seems like Rava and Vatu are essentially like one being fused together until Wan showed up and broke them
Yep.
apart.
Well, yeah,
And now
the-
now each of them are able to directly influence the world.
Also, Vatu and his awesome eye laser, which is really weak.
Yeah, no, when I saw that, I thought it would kill everything, and it's like, nah, it just kind of, it makes you a little miffed, really. Just hurts you a bit.
Ow, that really smart.
That's smart, yeah.
Like, I had a
Actually,
bee sting on the entire
it's funny.
of my body.
Because Vatu reminded me most of, and I guess, I don't know if this is, like, intentional, but, like, Aku from Samurai Jack. Like, because he's real over the top and, like, crazy, and, like, I want to
Aku
destroy
lost every
everything.
battle,
Shoot
though.
lasers out of my
you just
eyes.
made me really sad
Why?
because Aku's voice actor.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Iroh.
Iroh.
Why did you do that?
I'm sorry, but it's true. Like,
This is
he
your fault. I'm sad now.
It's true, though, right?
I hate you.
like,
I mean, one difference,
Vatu
though,
is like Aku.
it's true, but Aku did lose. Every time Samurai Jack had a chance to fight him, he would always beat him until somebody stopped him. They only
Also-
stopped Vatu at the end.
Also, I'd like to point out that Aku actually won.
Aku.
Did he? I thought Samurai
Aku
Jack beat
won.
him at the end.
No, show never ended.
yeah, it did.
Aku won.
Really?
Yeah, Aku directly influenced it. He's like, we'll never make the show end, so I never technically lose.
No, seriously though, Aku won. That's the whole reason the whole series even existed was, I sent him to the future. So,
Your home is still dead.
yeah, I killed everyone and everything. I win.
No, Aku won, like, by the future, and I thought that was the point of Samurai Jack. Was that
Yeah.
It was
He
just
was
Samurai
trying to
Jack's
live in
job
that
to
world.
kill.
Yeah,
Back
he
to the
never.
past,
No,
Samurai
no, it
Jack.
wasn't his job to kill him. It was his job to get back to the past. And Aku literally went out of his way every time. No.
Yeah. Well, because I remember specifically one time where he's like, the portal is sitting right in front of Samurai Jack, and then Aku just shows up and like picks it up like real high. It's like, nope, you can't reach it. I'm just gonna troll you. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
seriously. It's like,
that's why
I
I
won, and I'm gonna keep winning.
That's why I loved Aku's villain, though, because he was just like that kind of
the-
guy.
The great flaming eyebrows.
Which is why I was so connected to Vatu as a villain, because I'm like, you're just you're all over the top and crazy like Aku was, and you're fun.
Yeah.
You're a
It's like-
fun
it's
villain.
It's because if nothing else, the creators of Avatar have finally realized that if you can't, since they kind of have a hard time writing really, like, don't get me wrong, Amon was really good. The
Oh,
way they
love
wrapped him
Amon
up,
as a villain.
the way they wrapped him up wasn't good.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Thing is though, they're good at writing really hammy villains.
They are.
Oh.
And they do a
Like
fantastic
Varric,
job.
for example.
Varric is a great villain.
Dude, hands down,
Varric
he's
is
my favorite. And the fact that they turned out evil, I was so miffed.
no.
Oh,
I
everyone was
loved
mad.
it.
Varric is
my
a better
favorite.
villain than Unalaq.
It was
No,
First,
what I was joking about, I don't know if anyone else was in there. I'm just imagining in my head, Mako gets home after a hard day on the job. He starts to warm up an enchilada from last night for dinner. He turns around and it's gone. There's now a revolving chair in his
Oh,
Mako. Yeah. Varric turns around slowly. You can just see a little bit of beans on his mustache. Hello, Mako.
Yeah.
The fact that he knew. He's like, what are you gonna do about it?
Eat my pudding
Well-
as well.
It was kind of it was kind of funny because I was listening to the podcast from last week and we had some really good discussions on there. But it was almost like after watching the beginnings, it was like this is almost irrelevant because like these 2 episodes completely changed the way we were theorizing about how the season could go. Because before then we were like, Unalaq's like Varric's the far more interesting villain than Unalaq, and he still sort of is. But it's pretty heavily implied that Unalaq is doing something with Vaatu, and so that makes him go from being just this guy who's messing around with the North and the South to oh god, he's going to destroy the world.
I've already said this, and I know there are people who agree with me. If he goes Dark Avatar, I'm done watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
that could be
I'm not sure-
cool.
No, it won't be cool
Why not?
because it is the most trite, cliched, and overplayed pile of crap that you
Hold
can
on.
do.
If he becomes Dark Avatar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Feel like
Well,
the
this was
anti-Avatar?
actually because we were, like I said, Andrew, Peter, and I were watching this, and I remember thinking, like, oh, well, if Rava can fuse with a human being and make them, the Avatar, then it makes sense that Vaatu could do the same. So they could go that route if they wanted
See,
to.
I'm still convinced the very end, I'm sure it's going to happen and I'm ready for it, is when she's doing the bending to fight Vaatu, it's going to have Wan next to her and have this really majestic scene where all the avatars are with her
Episode
at
12.
the same time.
Episode 12, not the end. It's not
Yeah.
the last episode of the season.
Well, I'm just saying that's going to happen. All the avatars
Well,
will
no,
bend
like
together.
my theory is that that's going to be the beginning of the fight, and then the last 2 episodes is going to be the 2-part special. That's going to be the actual fight.
If I swear again. Also, the other one that's just going to really make me mad too is if after he's released from the giant tree, wherever that is, and Unalaq's like, you promised me power, and then he just gets struck down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get I'm gonna lose it.
Why?
That's so lame.
I know.
I hope they don't do that, and I don't think
Same.
they will. But
Because he didn't do that when Juan released him. No, I'm just gonna do it to you now because I'm now just the most trite villain who's ever been.
He was locked up for 10,000 years.
Yeah, it's still trite.
yeah, well, it's just a thing I've seen in too many other stories where the big villain is finally released, and he's like, I no longer need you, kills him.
Exactly.
And I hope Unalaq's plan is something
Yeah.
better than that.
What I'm curious is how is the Varric plot line going to like tie back?
Not at
into
all.
He's just gonna
this?
what was it? Someone mentioned that Asami is just clearly faking her happiness at this point. Her life has just become absolute suffering.
Well, it's going to be
He's just gonna keep feeding off her suffering.
It's going to be really bad when she finds out, oh, Varric's evil. My company just got bought out by the villain.
By 51% of the shares.
Pretty
How
much.
long do you think Mako's gonna wait before telling her? Is he gonna draw this out, or?
Oh, of course he will.
I think
Yeah.
he's going to find some concrete proof against him probably before he. Well,
He's got kind of concrete
They
proof.
sold all my tanks made out of pure platinum. That was such a terrible decision.
a little bit.
These are clearly not cost effective.
But they're really anti-bending effective.
Except for all of the things that
Worked really well on them.
yeah, works really well on the earthbenders. Excuse me, the metal benders, who are a type of, and the airbenders. You do realize that platinum has, if memory serves right, a fairly low melting point.
Yeah. Also, the one time Tencent actually started fighting them, he kind of just kicked their butts.
Yeah, no.
He's also the only airbender in the world. So like
Well, there's 3
dealing
other
with
kids.
him,
Porsche.
he's the only real
no,
airbender.
there
in
are
the world.
3 and Milo.
Yeah.
That is true.
Milo clearly has some level of just horrible mental illness. I mean, look at his head. What probably happened is he was an airbender right out, and he just shot out, and he just slammed his head into the wall.
That's why his head is sort of bumpy looking.
Yes.
Stop while he was ahead.
Well, that's the problem, Kenny. He was just ahead,
Exactly.
and now he's a lumpy head.
All right. I know you've got to go here, Jeremy. Why don't you real quick recap your thoughts on these episodes and where you think the show might go in the next
They
few?
were very good. I think it's going to go back to ugly animation, but
Well, for one episode.
for one episode. What I'm hoping is that now Korra's not going to be such a terrible piece of crap of a character.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that, because I was looking, the next episode is called The Guide. It doesn't come out this week, unfortunately. It comes out next week. But the description for it is Korra seeks Tenzin's help to enter the spirit world for the first time. So that's pretty much what this is. I'm guessing the guide is probably referring to Jinora, maybe?
I swear to God, if Ko doesn't show up, I'm going to be frustrated.
Well,
Wait, the panda?
no, Ko is the face stealer.
Who's the panda? I like the panda.
The spirit of the forest.
Why does
Yes.
everyone focus on the panda? It was one episode.
It was so good.
It was cute. I don't know. I feel like they are going to do Ko at some point, but with this Vatu thing, I don't. Well, but he's pretty evil. I want to. What if he's
Ko's
like?
not evil. Ko's just is what he is. He's clearly not a dark spirit because he's not all jagged and glowy.
That's true.
Just a giant worm thing with faces.
Yeah, I know. I do
I'm
want to
just gonna
see.
throw that right out there. He's not all jagged and glowy, so clearly he's
I know.
not just an evil spirit.
I do want to
could
see
become
Ko.
one.
I do wonder if they'll do that in season 2, if they'll save that for season 3 and 4, because she's got a lot to do in the spirit world to beat Vatu, and we've only got what 6
Also,
more
I've
episodes.
already mentioned this to you. If book 3 is Shadow and book 4 is Light, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
That's what
in
I
the
was
series.
theorizing it could be.
I'm gonna be really disappointed.
But if let's say that is the case though, and like my guess if they went in that direction would be that at the end of book 2 she confronts Vatu and like she's doesn't. He and Unalak don't succeed entirely in their plan, but something bad still happens, and Vatu is still somehow released on the world or whatever. And the book 3 is like really dark, and the book 4 is like the final battle. Because it seems like, to me at least, I know he's not pure evil, but it's basically the typical god of evil, sort of big bad sort of character that you've seen in a lot of shows. So if he's introduces the villain here and gets defeated at the end of book 2 and that's it, like what are the villains going to be in books 3 and 4? Because you can't really go much higher than god of evil, as far as power goes.
you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be bigger. It has to just be more entertaining.
Better written.
Yeah,
Like Varric.
or like Amon. Amon was not
I-
the most powerful, but he was
No.
had an ideology.
I think
Yeah,
the
he
show
was well
needs-
written right until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But I think the show needs like a central villain for like the
You
rest
mean
of
like
it.
Varric?
Yes.
But Varric,
Yeah, he'd be perfect.
Varric
to set
has
up.
everything he needs to be the grand high villain of the series.
he does
Massive support
but,
network, clearly conniving, extremely
lot of the world.
charismatic.
I mean,
And just
clearly
fun.
intelligent.
Yeah,
Like more
Probably
intelligent than we
The
give him
smartest
credit for.
person I've seen so far in the show.
That would actually
yeah.
be really interesting. What if like episodes 13, 14, the finale of this series, like is the big confrontation with Vatu and Unalak and Korra beats them, and then Varric just somehow shows up and throws
With
the
everything?
table over everything.
He's like, by the way,
What?
while you're fighting World of Evil, I got everything in the world's behind me. Whoops.
What? Okay, no.
That'd be
better,
cool.
crazier theory is that Korra
is Vatu.
can't win the harmonic convergence, and Unalak beats her, and then Varric shows up and like, I'm gonna beat you, Unalak, and then Vatu just takes Varric. Because he's just better at his job because
You're like,
Unalak's not a
you're
very
so
good
much,
villain.
such much a better villain. I'm gonna go possess you.
I'm super generic. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
Unalak's
just
super generic.
fundamentalist.
And then, because Varric, potentially by the end control half the world,
Oh,
and
really?
then
Cool.
Vatu just takes that spot, and then they just become the villain.
Now they become the
together.
best partners ever. Make their own movie.
And then
He'd
just
make a
screw
mover
around
on
one of
it.
his
He's
moving
like
pictures.
not very good at his job. Versus Varric, who's like excellent at his job, and Varric's just a better character.
Does
so.
this
He
mean
is
that the
more
movie
interesting,
industry
he's
is
better
actually
written.
evil?
That's why he's gonna
Yeah.
be more of a problem
Well,
villain then.
the thing with Unalak right now is so much of his plan is covered in mystery because we basically have no idea what he's doing in the spirit world, and he's doing something with Vatu there. What it is, I don't
Paint
know.
That
Banana
is
cake.
heavily implied that he's
Yeah.
I don't actually think he's in the spirit world.
No, but we
he
saw
came out.
him. We saw him come out of the spirit world in episode 5.
No.
or
I'm
6.
that
Sorry,
doesn't mean Vatu's there though, because remember, how did the fight with him end, Alex?
he was trapped inside that tree thing.
Yeah,
Right.
we've seen that tree before, I believe,
Where?
in the last Airbender, in the Great Forest.
Well, but remember when Rava and Wan went to go confront him, they went to the South Pole, went through the portal, and then Vatu came out of the other portal, and they're in that big space with the tree in the middle. So that's
and if you notice, the South Pole and the North Pole are right next to each other during the harmonic convergence.
right. Well, yeah, you can sort of like teleport between the
And
places.
And again, the I could totally be wrong. I probably am wrong. But what if the Great Forest, the forest that's made up of literally one tree?
Oh, what? Oh, you mean the one that was in the swamp in the original Avatar? But that's nowhere. That's nowhere near the north, like those two portals.
You're right. It's probably right in the center of them.
I don't know, because it's. I was a little bit confused about exactly where the harmonic convergence event took place because Rava said it's the place between where the worlds converge, between the spirit world and the human world. And I was wondering, so is it literally like there's the spirit world here, there's the human world here, and this is a place in the middle, or was this just a part of the spirit world where the north and south portal come out?
I'm with him. It's the tree.
All right, I don't believe it, but it could be.
It could work. I mean,
hold that a vote.
'cause Spirit
then I
world
could see
geography
Swampy
could be
Bottom
different
benders.
because, like, I've
Or
seen a lot
whatever
of
their
like
name is.
The fact that
Feywild
Korra
things
could
like
have
that.
come from them,
Harry Dresden.
and she didn't. It's so frustrating.
Oh, it would have been so much more fun if she was.
Jeremy wanted his swamp benders.
Yes.
That's the one
It
episode
would
my
be
friend
so
didn't show me. He
fun.
said it was unimportant and we skipped it. I've never seen the Swamp Bender episode.
Aw,
But
it's
Your
good
friend
episode.
has crap taste.
Yeah, out of the entire series, that's the
He
one
made
episode
you
I've never
watch The
seen.
Great Divide.
I watched everything.
Your friend has crap taste.
Wait, The Great Divide.
Yeah, that's a season 1 episode. Nothing much happens.
Oh yeah, I've seen every single thing about that episode.
Because the swamp episode is where we see Toph's little like ghost thing playing. Like that's
Yeah, I
actually
know. I'm
pretty
like, that's pretty important. He's like, I forgot about that part. Because when I saw him at the end, he's like, the only thing is you'll see two guys swamp bending. That won't make any sense to you, but who cares?
God, I just love how they bend too. It's like everyone, Katara's got all these really fluid movements. What do? They just put their arms out. They just start windmilling.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
How else are you gonna swamp
So-
bend?
One question about the harmonic convergence thing: who do you think knows about it other than the Avatar?
Yeah, because you guys
White
had
Lotus.
us.
Unalaq clearly does.
Well, yeah.
Unalaq clearly
I
does,
will bet
but-
you that the air nomads all know about it, but they don't know when.
At least, okay. Do you think the White Lotus knows?
Oh, of course.
So
No, they don't.
Our theory is that the White Lotus specifically kept Korra locked away so that they could just get her ready as fast as possible for this, because we can't think of any other reason
I-
for her.
I
them to-
because
really-
otherwise it's contrived and stupid. That they
I
just kept her
really
locked in a
hope
compound.
that that's not the case, because if it is, I'm just going to be furious with the White Lotus, because it's like, why the hell didn't anyone tell Korra until literally weeks before this Earth-changing event is about to happen? Why
I
did they
can
tell
tell
her
you
about
why.
it?
Okay,
Korra would go kill it.
Here you are, your little 4-year-old. Hey, honey. Yeah, you know how you have a great destiny? Yeah. Well, congratulations. You also inherited the part where you have to fight a millennia-old eldritch abomination. Good luck.
I'm not saying they tell her that when she was 4, but tell her when she's 17.
She doesn't
now.
need that. Dude, that pressure isn't going to help her.
Well, it definitely
She
would.
probably did plan on telling her, too.
It probably
And then she
would have
did-
been
and then
nice.
She couldn't do the spirit thing, which would make her feel even more incompetent, which she kind of needs.
It probably would have been a nice thing to know, since Unalaq basically tricked her into opening up the southern portal, which is part of what's needed apparently to like free Vaatu. Since he needs her to open up the northern portal too.
yeah, we created it. Oh, yes, they created the Maelstrom. Not the Maelstrom's been there for a very long time.
Yeah, so I don't know. I really hope that's not the case. I feel like this harmonic convergence thing is known by a very select few amount of people.
If
Okay,
everybody
but
knows,
like
they
the-
just ignore it.
The old
God,
Fire
10,000 years.
Sage
Yeah, we
knew
won't say
about
that.
it. I think the White Lotus did know, and that's why they kept her. And that's why, because they were most avatars, and this is stated in the Roku age, take their time learning the elements. They go through a long time mastering everyone. They made her learn these really fast.
well, she wanted to
and
do that as
we,
well.
We went over this in
She
the last
did, but, like-
episode. She seems to be she was unnaturally powerful in fire, water, and earth. She was able to bend those from literally like when she was 4, whereas
but like,
Aang couldn't do that.
but like, and this goes back to our complaint, like, why didn't they teach her metal bending or like lightning? Because I feel like those are
Or
They
swamp
can't teach her
bending.
they can't teach her any of the cool ones.
Swamp
Yeah.
bending would be so much fun.
the reason they don't teach her those things is so that the
It's too
characters
cool.
that do those specific elements can be cooler than Korra at that element. If she was just the
Yeah.
best at everything, then the other characters wouldn't be as cool.
But that doesn't make any sense because, like, metal bending and lightning bending are both like things that are clearly important. You can know all the things. We should teach you these stuff.
Also, what no one else has pointed out yet, though, is that airbending is by far the most horrifyingly fatal of all the bendings.
That's why
It
they're
is.
like peaceful monks, because they realize that if they just tried, they'd win.
Yeah, no, every fight. Oh, we're gonna bloodbend it. Nah, you're not gonna. I'm just gonna. Guess what happens when I just increase the pressure in your head?
Hey, you don't need to breathe, do you?
No,
yeah.
not even
So-
breathing. You don't even have to wait that long. You could literally just make. You could increase
Well-
or decrease the pressure in their heads. Decrease it, their heads. would just
Technically,
cave in.
couldn't the water benders somehow like super pressurize their water to the point where it can like slice through metal?
Yeah, they can, but it doesn't matter because if all you have to do is look at someone funny, and you can increase the air pressure in their head. It don't matter how fast you throw the water, you're gonna be dead long before you think about it because your
is,
head's gonna
all
explode.
of
It's
them
also hard to
kill each other.
focus when your head
But-
is just being crushed.
So, all right, fine. Barring the White Lotus, like, I feel like the White Lotus should know about this because, like, I'm sure that every avatar gets this talk at some point. Like, okay, this is what happens the
Roku-
first time.
Yeah, Roku sits down. I can just imagine this right now. After Aang has beat Ozai, Roku sits him down. Okay, yeah, there's this little bit we may have forgot to mention.
We didn't think
You're probably not going to have to deal with it, but the
Actually,
next one is.
This is
What's-
why you have magic glowy powers.
What's interesting about that is because it is stated that Aang died prematurely.
Yep.
Yeah. What I'm going to guess, though,
It
is that
could
Roku
have-
knew. I would
it
guess
could
the
have
other
been in
avatars
Aang's time.
probably. It's like, yeah, you're probably going to have to deal with this, but on the off chance you don't, here you go. And I just imagine Aang's face as the conversation goes on.
No. So, but what's interesting about it is, and this is my crazy theory, but it could be not true at all. But like, do you think it's possible that Aang was killed? But like this was part of Unalaq's plan, because he knows about this, and that he killed Aang or somebody working in that. Whatever.
I think Aang would have mentioned if he was killed, though.
Yeah.
No, maybe he didn't know. Maybe it was like he was poisoned
Poison.
or something. And in order to have
Well,
a
but it's-
younger, inexperienced avatar for this,
It's been shown
That would be giving Unalaq a little more credit than he deserves.
It's been
I know.
shown
Really machinating.
It's been shown that the avatars, when they're in their sort of spirit form, seem to be more all-knowing than they were in life. So I feel like Aang would definitely know, like, oh yeah, that guy poisoned me,
and he would
Watch out for
rat
that.
him out right away.
I know he would,
he's
but
a-
like, do you think that's possible?
I don't think
Something
it,
because
went
if they
down
do that,
there.
it's only because of bad writing. Because Unalaq has done nothing so far that would
but
paint
like
him as being that
But
competent.
that would also make him better at his job and a better villain. That we
But
have
the
respect
problem is,
for.
though, again, he's done nothing so far that paints him as being that competent, and it's just coming kind of out
yeah,
of
He's
nowhere.
and
not that
the
good at his
explanation
job, no.
that they gave for Aang's death was that the 100 years that he spent in the iceberg basically took a toll on his body, and he died prematurely.
But, like,
and
that's
that
an easy
that makes
thing
a
to-
lot of sense to
that
me.
does make sense, but that's an easy thing to retcon out. Like
They
you could
could, but-
easily retcon. Like that's not even the
let's hope
hardest
they
thing.
don't, because that's just going to be really fun.
Yeah, 'cause it's
Like,
also
no,
like-
don't build up the incompetent boob by making yourselves look like idiots.
Yeah, because
But
remember,
he did have that entire thing planned with sending the Fire tribes to invade the North Pole, and then sending them to the.
well,
to
they
the
were
forest
mercenaries. I don't think they were Fire Nation.
Well, they were
were just
Fire
some-
tribes.
that's
They're
not really that
firebenders.
hard though. That's not exactly very.
But that
forward-thinking.
shows like a level of machinating
Oh, no,
that is
I mean,
fairly
he's
decent.
definitely
No,
a
not really.
He's definitely a planner because he basically like did this whole plot knowing that his brother would go there to wipe out the forest, knowing that it would get him kicked out, and knowing that he could eventually go down there and take over the South.
Yeah, but
blah,
it
blah,
wasn't
blah.
really. It's not really that impressive in the long run.
Well, I will say-
it's basically I know my brother's an idiot.
I
so
don't.
I'm going to exploit
I don't like the
that.
idea that Aang was murdered because remember when Roku died, he died fighting a volcano. You know, you can't just kill the Avatar that easy. You know, Aang wouldn't go down without a fight. You have to be pretty strong or somehow
Well, I'm not saying
backstab
like
him
he was
to
like
get him.
murdered. I thought like poison. Is totally
that is
viable.
murder.
In the
But I'm gonna guess
newly
no.
like it is murder, but like he's not like was beaten like by somebody who like killed him like in a fight. No, like
Again,
poison
I'm
in
going to
this
think
new
that's not.
political age.
I'm gonna give the writers the benefit of the doubt and hope to God that's not what it is, because at this point, Unalaq has lost really most of his credibility.
He has. He's not a very good villain.
And if it's fine if they want to build it up, but don't do it in such a way that is clearly no.
Well-
you guys were grasping at straws here, and you would go for anything at this point.
I wouldn't say it's that Unalaq's lost credibility. It's just that he's been pretty much out of the show for 4 episodes.
He's also been outdone by the 2 villains they've introduced since then. So in every
Because-
way,
True, but I feel like they're going to pick him up again in the near future. When we get
They
close
are.
to the climax, we're going to see what he's up to, and maybe it'll be stupid or maybe it'll be awesome.
maybe his
Who
plan
knows?
will like be cool and make a lot more sense. But he's also kind of lost control because like his whole big thing was like controlling Korra, and he lost control of her like super quickly by like very badly machinating, like controlling her.
Because again, clearly he's not that good. He's not nearly as smart
He's
as he
kind
thinks
of
he is.
incompetent.
I like to think that he is not actually in the spirit world, but just standing in a beam of light and walking out to look cool, just to like intimidate his
Just
children.
convince
I
everybody.
was in the spirit world,
Well,
totally.
something about that might hint at Unalaq's plan because they have released like some of the episode titles, like Jeremy mentioned earlier. Episode 10 is called "A New Spiritual Age," so I feel like that might be what Unalaq's plan. Something about what Unalaq's plan is, because that sounds very like something he would say.
We need spirit and funk everywhere.
One world, one set of spirits.
One family.
Oh boy, we could burst into song. And I don't know. I could see it being a thing like because
He's doing the Heil
I always thought that it was kind of weird if Unalaq's working with Vaatu because Vaatu pretty much wants to destroy the world, and Unalaq doesn't seem like he's that kind of villain. But I could see it being a thing where Vaatu wants to kill all humans and like basically let spirits rule the world, and Unalaq's okay with that. I could see that maybe being the plan they're going with. But I would hope it's something a little less cliche than that as well. I don't know. And then episode 11 is called Night of 1,000 Stars. No idea what that means. And episode 12, as Jeremy mentioned, is called Harmonic Convergence, which
When
Starbending.
the planets align and the giant fire dragon that is the sun wakes up.
that's
That's like that's how I imagine it goes in my head.
I know. I personally
roar.
agree with you, Andrew. I think episode 12 is like basically the Harmonic Convergence is going to start, but the actual final battle is going to be episodes 13 and 14.
They'll be all build up to like that fight, and they'll get ready for it, and then they'll like be pumped, and then there'll be the cutoff right when the fight starts.
And
You'll
then
be like,
make us
God, now
wait.
I gotta wait till next week, and then it'll be an hour-long
Yeah,
fight.
because there's got to be something. Obviously, when those two portals connect, that's something special. Because when Wan touched that, that's what permanently fused him with Rava.
Well,
you know,
I've always
so-
read that as if that space that they fought in was the space between the spirit world and
You can go if you have.
the physical world. And when he touched that, he fused him and the spirit in him together, like the physical and the spirit together.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. It makes more sense to me because obviously Wan closed both the portals in the north and the south, and Unalaq needs Korra to open up the north portal. So it makes sense that he needs both the north and the south portal open so that harmonic convergence can happen.
I don't think that
you know?
that's preventing harmonic convergence happening, because this is something that was implied that has to happen. Like every
That's
10,000
true.
years, it just has to happen.
Well, why does he need the northern portal open then so bad?
You know what? I don't know. Like, I don't know why he needs the portals open. Like, you would just think, like, okay, it's time now. Korra, we're going to zap you to the spirit world because this fight needs to, like,
Fast travel
happen.
system.
Yeah, fast travel. Just, like, you're going to go, you got to get into a fight.
Right. I don't know. I personally sort of think that like harmonic convergence is going to be something, because I think in one of the trailers we saw something where Unalaq was standing like in a place like in the North Pole, and there was that like something that looked a lot like that tree behind him or something like that. So I think we're going to be in that spot again, you know, for this big final battle. And it is, I don't know, it is interesting to think about basically that whereas Rava, you know, in the past used to be like this force of light, basically, you know, that would go around like fixing all the bad things Vatu did, you know, trying to keep order in the world. Now that job is basically the avatar is the embodiment of Rava, like the human version of that. So yeah, the avatar is quite literally like the savior of the world and the only one that can stop Vatu from destroying everything.
So, and I know Jeremy hates this, but
Yeah, Jeremy had to leave. He's got some homework to do.
But like, I know Jeremy hates the idea of the anti-avatar, but like, would that make sense? Like, for that to be like, Vatu's like, okay, that clearly worked. That clearly beat me. What if I did that?
I don't know.
It's a matter of balance.
Personally, for me, I see it as a thing where I'd be fine with the anti-avatar happening as long as it happened like once and they got defeated and it was an awesome battle and that was that. If it becomes a thing where the anti-avatar is a part of the makeup of the world, just like the avatar is, where basically there's going to be an avatar that's always reborn constantly, and there's going to be a evil avatar that's reborn constantly. That's pushing it too far, I think, because that's literally
Wouldn't that be
changing.
how it works.
Not necessarily.
I know, because I feel like the Avatar's got enough stuff to deal with, just dealing with the stupid things humanity's got to do. They don't
gotcha.
need a dark embodiment of evil constantly fighting them
Oh my
throughout
God,
all
they
time.
can fuel the
necessarily.
fire so much.
What
They
do you
can
mean?
help all the evil people. Like, say the Fire Nation wants to take over again, like, hey, evil Avatar, want to have a great time? They'd be like, yeah,
No,
I do.
see, I think the way that this would work is if he does become the evil avatar, they'll get into a fight. They'll both go into their avatar states, and then she'll beat him.
Right.
And then that's ends
What if
the
she
cycle.
loses?
Oh, he dies in
Because
Avatar
that
state.
establishes.
Now,
'cause
see,
that was
what if
established,
he
that
tries to go in
ends the
her
cycle.
and then splits her and she has to fight her spirit self, like a
Yeah,
Link,
go
like
that
Dark
route.
Link kind of thing? A Dark Korra. Or maybe it'd be a better Korra.
That would happen if Vatu was killed, because it was basically right out stated that if Rava kills Vatu, Vatu will eventually appear out of Rava, and if Rava is killed by Vatu, Rava will eventually appear out of Vatu. Like light cannot exist without darkness. That
Yes,
whole motif.
But like, I think that it would be like, but that would just end the cycle. Like, there would be no Dark Avatar reborn. Like, Vatu would just go off and be defeated. again.
She'd probably have to capture him in a cage of all four elements, just like Wan did.
Well, no, like what will probably happen, and this is me speculating. If they do the Dark Avatar route, that's fine. I am okay with that as a thing, because then they'll get into a fight. I like to imagine Korra loses because she's not trained, she's not ready for this, and then that's like the second, the third, and fourth season. It's just that, like her,
fighting whoever the evil avatar is.
hopefully, preferably, I want it to be Varric. because I think that would be a cool
Heck
way of
yeah, dude.
crossing this back in, and he's also better.
Throne of Lies.
I was thinking, like, obviously Unalaq's the first person you think of for the anti-Avatar, but what if he gave it to one of his kids? Like, what if Eska became the anti-Avatar or something like that? Sort of like how you were saying how
That means Bolin would have to
Unalaq
marry
was
her.
jealous that Tonrak gave birth to the Avatar. Okay, he gave birth to the anti-Avatar.
What
you
if
know?
he gave it to his son, who has like said nothing this entire?
That would just be dumb. He has no personality.
No, that's
Until you
what
give him
makes
evil
him
powers.
useful. Because like then the main villain of the show started off as a joke character in this first episode, of the second season.
Oh my
and
god,
it's
what if it
kinda
turns out to be
sad.
the Cabbage Corp runner?
Oh my god.
Dark Avatar. This is for cursing my Cabbage Corp.
My main question
That would
is,
be the best twist of
He
all
can bend
time.
cabbage.
my main question is like, who's gonna train the Dark Avatar? Because I just love the image of just ancient Azula training him in firebending.
Well, that's actually a good point, actually, because remember, just because Rava fused with, Wan didn't mean that he immediately learned like all 4 elements. He had to go to lion turtles, and Rava was just basically holding on to the other elements, and she'd go through him, and then he could switch from like fire to water to air,
So-
blah, blah, blah. And it was only when they fused together, that they could do all of them. But Vaatu hasn't been shown to be able to bend any of the elements. So would the anti-Avatar just be shooting out like those purple beam things?
I'm okay with that. But are we gonna have her like now that we know she exists and have acknowledged that she's in the Avatar? I get the feeling she's gonna talk to the Avatar like now she's gonna talk to Korra through her head a lot more now.
I hope
What
that
if she doesn't
happens
have
because she
enough
could use
power
some
for that, though?
advice.
No, it was implied that she kind of died. Like
little bit.
her spirit became one with the avatars.
But she talked with Wan. She said like we are bonded forever, and then when he was dying, she's like, "Don't worry, I will be reborn with you. We will be together forever."
yeah,
or something
I mean,
like that.
I don't know. It's
I know.
possible.
Rava and Wan obviously were probably the closest, simply because Wan, was
they
the first
fused.
Avatar. But I feel like Rava, I don't know, because you were talking earlier about like how many of the past Avatars knew about Rava. I actually wonder if any of them really did know about Rava until they died and sort of achieved spiritual enlightenment.
I mean, it's possible, like, because like all Aang or Roku had to do was just like sit there and meditate and go through their lives, because it was established that they could just like do that.
Like that's just a matter of curiosity. At some point, you have infinite numbers of lives. At some point,
But-
on an easy day, you must sit. I'm going to sit down and meditate and just talk to the first.
But it was
one.
sort of implied by that Fire Sage woman that we're putting her down into the spring so she can access her deepest Avatar memories. So I feel like going that far back to literally the origin of the Avatar, that might not be something you can do just normally. Maybe you have to be in a sacred spot like that spring to do it.
But it's also possible that like they went and did that. Like one of them later in life were like,
It's
okay, I'm just
possible.
gonna go do that.
I don't
Like,
know.
I'm gonna go meditate.
It's not really that important. I'm just
No, I mean,
speculating.
I do wonder because like it was entirely possible that Aang had to be the one to deal with this harmonic convergence, because like 17 years roughly, like he died. He could have been really old when he fought when he did the harmonic convergence, but like
He was
Yeah, it
being
could
good
have
at his
happened.
job.
it could have been his job.
Yeah. Well, right, because they pretty much had a time point, like 10,000 years to the day after Wan stopped Vaatu. That's the day it's going to happen. So they kind of knew this was coming for a while.
Yeah.
Whoever knows about it, which is why I think it's stupid if the White Lotus knew. But
I think so. Well, because people like because this Fire Sage woman obviously knew. Unalaq probably knows. I wonder if Tenzin knows.
I haven't answered your
No,
earlier question.
Tenzin doesn't know. He would have been educating Korra on that. They would have been prepping for this for months, years.
Well,
in
dude, I have an
advance.
answer for your questions.
Okay, what?
You know the anti-Avatar?
Right.
The Black Lotus would teach her. Or him. They come out like, we've been here the whole time. We've been worshiping Vaatu. We'll teach that one.
We'll teach that one.
Give us
Let's take
that.
that one, and then you can have that one.
Yeah,
And
we don't
we'll
want that
fight
one.
this out later.
Yeah, just season 2 seasons, then disappear.
I don't know. We'll see. There's so many. That's the thing that's really exciting to me about watching these episodes. There's so many directions the show could go in. As far
There
as
is a lot.
making it a, does Vaatu or the anti-Avatars something Varric become the series-wide villain, or is it all going to be wrapped up in book 2 and then 3 and 4 are going to be their own separate things?
We'll
like-
find out next time on Avatar.
Escalate from that.
Well, I mean, do you have to escalate? We just had this conversation like yesterday.
Yeah.
Do things always have to go up?
Well, they not necessarily. I guess like you can go from the villains don't necessarily have to be brute force more powerful than the previous ones if they make up for it and more in some other way. Because like Amon obviously isn't as strong as Vaatu, but he was powerful with bloodbending and he had cool ideals that made
He was
him
also just
gray.
significantly less potent than the first season's villain.
Yeah, because like Amon felt like Amon wasn't a step up, like in terms of scale to Ozai, but he felt like a step up
Yeah, I mean, as far as being a more complex and more interesting villain, because Ozai was pretty much just the evil overlord. I'm super
Omnipresent.
powerful. I'm going to rule the world. You know, and that's all he needed to be, really.
That's all he needed to be for that show, because that was that show's plot.
Yeah.
Everything else, like, that was the cliche they latched onto that show, and everything else was pretty original. Like,
Yep.
that was the cliche they needed to get the ball rolling.
Pretty much, because like all the other villains, like Zuko and Azula, and even what's his name, Zhao, you know, all of them had aspects of their character that made them a little bit more deep. Ozai was just pure evil, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, so
He was
Power
the
hungry.
Sauron figure that
Oh,
needed
and
to be there.
this was something that sort of bothered me. I saw some people saying online, like making a funny little quip, like, "Oh, you know, the best episode of Legend of Korra has no Legend of Korra characters. How about that?" You know, like implying obviously that Legend of Korra sucks or the characters suck or whatever. You know, but for me, it's like a thing. If these two episodes had been somewhere in the middle of the original show, those would have been two of the best episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It doesn't matter that
yeah.
the characters weren't
Oh,
in
yeah,
it.
they were. These were just great episodes.
Because
I
honestly,
actually love Wan as a character because he's
I do love
very
him a lot.
kind
Yeah,
and
Wan was great.
respectful.
yeah, well, but he was kind of respectful, but he also started out as a thief, and he basically caused the super bad thing to happen because he freed the ultimate
Well,
evil.
see, unleashing evil humbles you, and he was a thief out of necessity.
Yeah, he
One
was,
jump.
He was. You too, really, Peter?
Well, okay,
Bum, bum.
I'm sorry, but it's really evident.
It's too easy to make jokes with him. I'll admit
It is.
that. One thing you did just remind me of, I wanted to talk about real quick before we get close to wrapping this up, is I did really like how his friend Jaya showed up again, and he was like bringing back this whole idea. Oh, you're right, Juan. You know, we just needed power. Now you're right. We can change the world.
No, I was
You
afraid
know,
of that from the beginning. Like, they're gonna get this fireband, they're just gonna wreck everything. Like, he could do it, so can we. And I'm like, this is gonna end to nothing but bad.
Right, and then it ends with them getting annihilated by the dark spirits. Like,
Technically, it was their fault. They were being weenies about it. They're burning down the forest. Like, hey, instead of talking to spirits, let's kill them.
but they are also probably my guess is they were living however they were living, and then dark spirits attacked them because Vatu's screwing up the world, and they're like, "Oh, all spirits are evil. We must burn down everything." So they basically just overreacted
Well, that's
to
just
that.
being
Or
racist.
just normal spirits, because it's been shown that the normal spirits aren't that much friendlier to humans than dark
They
Yeah.
aren't, but they could have just said, like, hey, you guys stay over there, we'll stay over here. And they would have been like, okay.
That is true, though. When Juan's in that jungle for the first time, literally every single thing is trying to kill him.
Yeah.
You know, the bee fruits, which I kept on thinking, not
Yeah.
the bees, not the bees.
But they're not really sentient
Ah,
spirits. They're more just creatures. So, of course, they're going to try to kill him. Any creature would.
I guess. But then even the
Well, it's just the lemur
lemur
guy.
The lemur
Just
guy
him.
was kicking his butt. Like,
Well, it was just him. All the other spirits were fine. They're like, hey, he's a human, dude. Let him in. Everybody but him.
well, at least the ones that talked, like that kid guy who was
Adorable one.
obviously cute and innocent and all that good stuff.
But the lemur was one of the best characters, too. I liked him a lot.
Oh yeah, I loved his voice, and just his character throughout. And I liked at the end how he's like, I'm proud to be your friend, Avatar Juan.
I'm hoping we
bowed
see
to
him again.
Yeah, he's a spirit. He
Yeah,
could still
spirits
be
are
alive.
timeless. I want to assume they are.
Yeah, I'm
What
pretty
if
sure they
he
are.
turns into Ko?
Or what if his face was stolen by Ko?
No.
No.
I won't accept it. I'd
Kenny
be like,
refuses.
nope, turn off the show. Never see it
Yeah.
again.
And I also, as far as like things that they happened in this episode that made things from the original show make sense, sort of like the firebending, learning greater firebending by using the dragons and stuff. I like the idea that basically the reason that the Avatar state will, or the cycle of the Avatar will end if you get killed running the Avatar state is, the way I read it, Rava is pretty much physically like present when the Avatar state is going on. And so if the Avatar dies in that state, Rava, the spirit of Rava itself, dies, and thus the Avatar is no longer reborn.
It's-
And
Is
then
that by
Rava
lightning
would
and brought back?
re-enter the Dark One, whose name I don't.
Right,
I'm
but
just so bad with names.
But it wouldn't
Vatu.
happen
I
until
wanna
the
say
next
Vishnu.
harmonic convergence, which could be 10,000 years in the future. So she made the point like, oh yeah, I will be reborn 10,000 years in the future, but by then Vatu's could have killed all of you, so it really won't matter.
Oops.
So I don't know. Overall, these were honestly, I'd say comparing these both to all the episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, the only episode I think that's better than this is the season finale of the original show, because that was obviously great, concluded everything beautifully. But
Disagree.
what episode was better than this?
Hands down, best episode in the entirety series of all of Avatar is the Dream episode where he's trying to deal with fighting Ozai. That is still my favorite episode I've ever seen in any of Avatar.
Really, even
It was
more than
hilarious.
the theater episode.
Oh, way more.
I love the theater episode because it's sort of like they're just abridging their own show,
I
and
know.
they make fun of their own fans,
I
like the
love that,
Zuko
though.
Katara shippers.
Yes.
Zutara, this made fun of Zutara.
But no, see,
As
it's
they
really
should.
done. It built up the exposition for the ending. It was hilarious, and just Aang having insomnia the whole time. You get to sleep on a bunch of sheep.
He was literally insane at one point.
It was so good. That's still my favorite episode. But I'd say this is definitely probably the second best episode I've ever seen.
I think this is actually the best episode.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I love the season finale was great. It was an epic fight, but the energy bending thing came too far out of left
Deus Ex
field, and it bothered me. And it was just
but
jumble.
I don't know. I feel like it was one of those things though where Aang had worked so hard to, find an answer. And to be fair, I mean, it's been shown there's more than one lion turtle. There are apparently lots of them, and the lion turtle would come to Aang at the time of need when he needed to be there. This is like fate. This is destiny. That's all built around the Avatar cycle.
I just wish that something they hinted at the fact that energy bending was a thing earlier, when he was talking to his past lives on the lion turtle's back, that they at least implied
even one line or something.
That they knew something about this.
Well, and maybe they didn't, because he even says energy bending existed before bending. So if what Jeremy was theorizing was true, energy bending might have existed before humans were even born, and it was just the lion turtles. So this could be something that's literally so ancient that even the avatars don't really know about.
I know,
it.
but I wish that there was some hint about it, because
I mean,
just comes so far out of
At
left
least after
field.
that, they brought it to the new series. Energy bending was a lot
Yes.
bigger, obviously, than the other ones. So
that
at least they carried
picked
on
up
with it.
all of the weird plot lines from the end of Avatar and made them work in
Yeah,
Korra.
they didn't drop it
Yeah.
like it's hot.
Even if it was just one story that was being told around a campfire to a child about back in the day.
Yeah, no, I agree. The lion turtle's a little weird, but I don't consider it to be a total Deus Ex Machina. It's half of a Deus
just a
Ex
Deus.
Machina.
It really is.
But so I don't know. I love these episodes. Obviously, I'm a big fan of mythology, and this combined a lot of
So-
Eastern sort of mythology with some Western stuff, like the idea of the planets aligning. I'm pretty sure it's a Greek mythology thing.
There's a lot of Greek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was
so
a lot of Greek in there. There was
a lot of
The
Eastern,
lion in the
obviously.
tree.
Lion in the Tree. Vatu and Rava sound Indian.
Well,
Yeah.
their designs definitely looked sort of Indian-ish.
Yeah, they do. So it's interesting because they do combine a lot of mythology myths, and it does feel like a myth.
Oh yeah, that's what I loved about it. It pretty
So-
much was
The artwork alone.
the
like
origin.
an
Artwork
ancient painting or
helps.
tapestry.
Yeah, the origin of the Avatar, the mythos, the backstory to this world. Because I always loved that. I loved reading the Silmarillion for those who are Lord of the Rings fans, because that's pretty much about the foundation of the Lord of the Rings world. And that was so cool to see.
Such a long
You
book.
read that, Pete?
It's not that
I have
long.
not read
It's
that one yet.
400 pages.
But it's, yeah.
It's a textbook, so
Yeah,
That's kind of true. It is sort of a textbook. And I liked, in the last episode, Andrew, you were worried about this whole Korra getting amnesia thing. It was pretty much just a device for her. Okay, we need to put you in this pool of water so you can regain your memories of
I
the
wish she
Avatar.
didn't get amnesia for that.
I
They're
feel like the
okay,
amnesia
you,
was
We're
unnecessary.
gonna talk to you. No, you come here.
I know.
We're going to put you in here, and you're gonna figure
I mean,
this
they could
out.
have just washed
No,
up and been like, how
no,
do I...
but
No, because she wouldn't have listened.
Yeah,
No,
she wouldn't sit still long enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. Korra would have been like, I've got to go get troops from the Fire Nation. This is important.
No,
I don't
no.
have time for
I
this.
don't have time for your spirit nonsense.
Right. Well, and basically this was just a way to make it happen. It would have been a little awkward the other way, I think. So I don't know because the amnesia thing just was basically the reason for her to have to meet with Wan, and then it was completely resolved when she met with Wan. She's like, I am the Avatar. I am Korra. She regained all her memories. That's fine. It was just a plot device basically to get us into that flashback. So I'm okay with that personally. Andrew, what were your overall thoughts on those episodes?
Like I said, best episode of Avatar. It felt like a myth, and I like that. Everything except for the dialogue, because the dialogue felt too modern to be really a myth. But I understand that because people have to watch this.
It is a children's show.
It is a children's show, and children have to be able to.
Well,
connect to the
Rava
characters.
and Vatu definitely had more of the
They did.
grand, old
They
speak
did, but
sort of.
if you were telling this myth to the kid, they would have sounded different. But that's fine. Whatever. I can excuse that for the show. So other than that, small mark against it, it felt like a creation story, and that's good, and that really works for it and makes it just the best. And it feels weird that the same writers have been doing because Korra the second season it's been decent overall, but there's been definitely a lot of black marks on the show that we've been complaining about, and then they pull this, and I'm like,
Well, and I think it shows that they have some obviously they've made Korra somewhat unlikable at certain points, making her maybe too angry at times.
Yeah.
But they're not stupid. They've wrote all of Avatar: The Last Airbender. They wrote Korra Book 1. They're bringing her on a journey where she grows and overcomes those unlikable qualities.
They don't need, I don't think they needed to make her as unlikable as it did. This shift does not have to be as dramatic as they clearly are making it out to be. So,
it all depends on where the show goes from here. How does Korra change?
How does this affect her is what's really, that I really want to know. Does this humble her? Does this make her more calm and collective and understand that you can't be so rash, because when Wan was rash, he almost doomed the world. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, Wan was a little bit like Korra in that he would do things, he was a little bit arrogant. He would do things rashly, and he made poor choices that doomed the world.
Yeah.
So at certain points.
Is that what she's going to take away from that story? Because that's really the cautionary. That's really the moral behind the myth is think before you leap.
A little bit.
There
Think
were a couple
before you
walls, but
interfere.
yeah.
That was the big one.
Think before you interfere in the battles between two god spirits.
Well, also, even then,
for a good plot in the future,
smaller, when he goes back and his friend is leading the rebellion, they weren't even thinking about the consequences of dealing with the spirits. They were like, no, we're going to do this. That was reinforced a few, over and over, that just think and be calm and collective about how you deal with things.
well,
That was, I felt like, the moral.
be wary of the consequences of your
Yes,
actions.
which is the moral, and I think that's the thing that Korra needs to take away from this myth.
yeah, I'd say that's true. Peter.
I very much agree. I think that this is definitely my favorite episode. I wish that they talked a bit more about the different bendings. Like, he got fire, and he did a lot with fire, and he did a fair amount with air, and then he barely touched water bending, and then earth bending he did a little bit, but there was almost no water bending. I would have liked to see a bit more of that, simply from a fight animation standard. But overall, I loved this episode. I'm a very big fan of folklore. I loved spotting all the original myths within the story, because most cultures will have some version of every single one of those myths.
That's the monomyth. Joseph Campbell, read his book. It's good.
I thought it was fantastic. I really look forward to this going on, and I just can't I love that I can't even guess which one's gonna actually happen.
Yeah, that's what's so exciting is that there's
is.
so many
It
possibilities.
has gotten a little bit unpredictable, and I do love that, because it does not happen to me very often.
Yeah, because like I was saying, when I was listening to our previous episode, great conversations, but it's a lot of our theories about what was going to happen next are just completely unearthed by this.
This just pull out the rug.
Yep.
It's like the Dr. Manhattan quote in Watchmen. It's I have to thank you, because I have never, I forgot what it's like to not be able to predict the future. So, because most of the time when I watch the story, I'm like, yeah, this, and this is going to
usually guess
happen.
it pretty well.
This pulled out the rug under me, and I don't even know what's going to happen.
To understand what we're talking about, go watch our previous podcast about Korra.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
your bug.
Episode 40. Kenny,
it was good.
that's it?
No, the thing I like about it is because I completely forgot the lion turtles existed, and to see them actually come back and make sense, and how people lived on them, and they all look different, had different qualities, and the fact they were actually pretty willing to give them the power too. It was kind of cool. I was wondering how's it become the Avatar? Oh, ask giant turtles of immense power to give you it. Cool, because I always thought the Avatar always was omnipresent, but I never thought about an origin story. And again, the myths. I love my majors. One of them is mythology kind of thing. So come on, mythology's great. So seeing it all in play is beautiful, and just the character Wan. I really like Wan. He's really cool.
He's Spanish now.
I just like his character alone and the way he did things in the beginning. He was just trying to trick him out of getting the fire bending. I was like, dude, more power to you. And I just liked it, and the whole how they broke away from the
firepower to you.
Yes. And just how he evolved as a person, how it makes sense for the Avatar and the fusion, everything like that.
Well, I loved when he was confronting Batu, and he was like, "Didn't you hear the legends? I'm not a normal human anymore." It's yeah, he's so badass.
And they were just brilliantly done. They were the second best thing Avatar's ever done, next to the Dream episode.
I will say, watching that fight between Batu and Wan in the place between the two worlds, during the harmonic convergence, that was so cool. But obviously, this art style they're using is a little bit more simplistic.
Yes.
So when we basically get that, except with Korra and Vatu in the more realistic, more detailed style of the show itself, that is going to be an awesome
That's
fight
one thing I
scene.
like, though. The art style was brilliant. The way the fire looked was beautiful. Everything about it was really well done.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it looked like still getting an old canvas of an origin story on it. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 must watch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
must
Yeah.
10 out of 10
Definitely.
for sure. So next week we're going to be doing a podcast on a 2013 anime called Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, right, because you can't be there.
No, I was apologizing that you're talking about it.
Oh, okay.
What?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I can't make it.
But yeah, there's gonna be a group of us watching it at my the first few episodes of my house tomorrow. It's a pretty good show, sci-fi show written by Gen Urobuchi. Pretty good. So if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you can email us at techheads@avwproductions.com. You can follow us on Twitter at techheadsou, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube or AVW Media. Give us some Tumblr likes. We've got a Facebook page. We've got a blog at techheads.me. All sorts of good stuff. So I want to thank all of you out there for listening, and thank you guys for being on this podcast with me.
Of course.
I wanted to get Girl Up to Time out of the way first because I knew that we were going to talk for a while on Korra because this is just such a good episode. There's so many crazy theories we've got. So we will see you guys next week when we talk about Gargantia. So till then.
Korra's a lie.
This product is copyright AVW Productions 2000.